Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell who wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right, y'all. What's happening, man? Good morning. It is Thursday. Hope y'all having a wonderful morning. I apologize about the lateness. We were going to be late anyway. And then we had all sorts of audio issues this morning, but I think we're good. It always happens, man. Eric takes too long of a break. He screws everything up. It's all his fault. I'm just going to blame him for everything. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably my fault. But anyway, today we were supposed to have a fun little game show. We're still going to try to rip it off here and get it going. Do the Lions have a chance to make the Super Bowl? How about the other 31 teams? And so we're going to do a little rapid fire today and talk about it and kind of come up with a few quick answers as to which teams maybe have a shot, which teams don't. Of course, play along in the chat. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get phone calls on this one today, maybe at the very end. But play along in the chat, man. When we talk about each division, let us know what you guys think. But let's get Eric in here. He's been waiting long enough. Good morning, man. How are you this morning?
Hey, good.
So, hey, we made it.
Yeah, we're working anyway.
Yeah, we're trying to. Oh, so which one is that? Do you have the right buzzer or the wrong buzzer?
Well, that's for the good thing. So when you say something that's good,
oh, I got you.
You say something that's wrong.
Okay, so the way the game plays is I'm gonna go through a list of divisions. So you have 8 divisions.
Okay.
And so I'm going to say, hey, does anybody in the AFC East have a shot to make the Super Bowl? If it's quiet, that means that you believe, if you don't do this, then that means that you believe someone in the AFC East has a shot. So if it's quiet, then I'm going to open up the AFC East, and then I'm going to talk about each division or each team. And then you got to sell me as to why, or why not. We'll talk about all 4. Why or why not that these teams can make the Super Bowl or they don't make the Super Bowl. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of rapid fire, quickie takes. Might make sure I trademark this. Quickie hot takes on a Thursday. Quickie hot takes on a Thursday. Better trademark that. I'm sure a million people used it before me.
Good luck with trademarks.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. Let's see. Let me get this chat open. I don't even have a chat open yet. All right, good morning, everybody. Who do we have? Surprised anybody's even in, man. They took so long to get rolling today.
Jordan says, of course they have a chance. Most teams do.
Oh,
I think every team has a chance right now, don't they?
I mean, they all have the same record, so yeah.
Yeah, they all have a chance right now. It's just, what are they going to do with that chance? Are they going to sit on their hands, or are they going to take life by the reins and win a damn Super Bowl? Come on, Lions, get off your ass.
I mean, I'd say this. Look, I mean, everyone has the same chance when the clock's at 0 and the season hasn't started. But by week 4, there's a lot of teams that no longer have a chance. By week 6, that becomes a reality for the teams that only have 1 win or no wins by week 6. They're out. So we'll hopefully we don't have any of those teams. We don't have any. We don't have the Lions in that team category this year. I don't think they will be. I think we're going to be all right. I think we're going to need some defense, though. Let's do a quick recap, though. You've been away for a little bit. What are some of the things that have really kind of that it really kind of woke you up over the last week or so? Like, what's happening with the Lions right now that you're concerned about or that you're not concerned about?
My biggest concern was these new jerseys, man. They're silver. They're not white. They're putting out a new pair of shoes to go along with it. They're putting out another pair of shoes to go along with the season. So the Lions are putting out not 1, but 2 pairs of shoes this year from Nike, which is going to be pretty awesome. And Lions new jersey is getting a lot of hate. I happened to look up this morning that the Lions new jersey, they ranked 1 through 8 all the new jerseys from the 2 divisions that had the new rivalry jerseys, and they gave Lions number 8. Right?
Who did the voting?
Yeah, I was somebody on a website I was reading, and I just thought it was funny, because I want to report the good stuff and the bad stuff, So they're saying we're too much like the Carolina Panthers, and I get it. You know, the
how do you
numbers
get it though?
look
Did you go look at?
incredibly
Did
the
you look
same.
at the Panthers?
Yes,
They don't
the
look
numbers look
anywhere
very,
close.
very similar.
They're black. They're both black. Big
Yeah.
deal.
They're
you know?
black with blue border around them.
That's like
and they're
saying I can't say hot takes. You know, because I got a black letter on my black number on my jersey. You can't have a black number on your jersey. That's the only thing that is close.
Surrounded by blue.
That's the Lions have been blue forever. But that is the only thing that is close. They are totally different blues. Matter of fact, Carolina is more tealish than anything. Kind of like Jacksonville is more tealish.
I'll say this. I love them myself, and I ordered a whole bunch of them, and I'm going to get them. I'm going to get the official ones from the NFL when they come out here in a couple weeks or in a week. And I guess they're going to have them down somewhere near Detroit. They're going to have a limited supply of 6 or 8 players, and they're going to have the $160 version and the $225 version.
I've only seen them with $225.
Yeah, they're going to have 2 different versions, and they're going to have some of them like you can only get a Kirby in the 225 version. You can't get it in the 160 version, and then you can only get a Barry Sanders in the 225, but you can only get a Calvin Johnson in the 160. So kind of some weird ways they're doing it. Same with Sam Laporta. He was only in one and not the other.
All right,
category.
So Attila just gave me a crazy good new way to reference a certain part of the fan base. Now, I try not to be an a-hole to anybody in the fan base, but we've been calling the fans that just kind of jump in and listen to one stupid take, like they go SOL, from 0 to 100, right?
Yeah.
I'm just they're just all sheep now because they got their eyes closed and their ears open, and it's like the blind leading the blind, man. One idiot says something stupid about the team, about the player, and it's just tell me, whatever you say must be true. Even though
I get it. I see the comparison. If you put them side by side and they were standing 15 feet away and you squinted your eyes, they look pretty similar.
Oh my God. You just gave a lot of
if you put
but come on, you had to stand.
If you put the center in a Detroit Lions jersey on the Carolina Panthers out there on the field, you'd be hard pressed to notice the difference.
I'm telling you, I did the comparison yesterday live. And they're not.
I'm not saying jersey to jersey. I'm saying you put them out there with them. One person on the field in a Lions jersey, and the other one's in the Carolina jersey. They're going to look pretty darn similar.
Here's the good news: we ain't playing the Panthers. That's a rivalry, so I think we're good.
We are playing the Panthers though this year.
Not as a rivalry.
No. We only get to wear those once. We can still wear the blacks twice this year. We can still wear the alternate old school on Thanksgiving. So we still have choices. And the thing about the new rivalry is we got that new helmet as well. So the helmet now has a stripe that goes down it, and the Lions on the side have carbon fiber in them, which the other alternate helmet does not. So I don't know if we wear the black jerseys 2 times this year, if the helmet will have that black carbon fiber to it. I think if they did the whole jersey in that black carbon fiber and they would have had like blue or white numbers, that would have looked spectacular. White numbers with blue around it on that black carbon fiber jersey, that would have looked really cool.
Like what I said yesterday is they should have just put it out to the fans, because apparently, all these apparel designers and all these Gucci and Fendi and everybody else that's in the chat and everybody else's content channels, like they know best about apparel. You know what I'm saying? They know best about jerseys. They know better than Nike. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: fans speak with their wallets, and I guarantee you're going to see people in the stands in those jerseys.
It's right there. You just exactly like all the people that are running their mouth say, "Oh, it looks like the Panthers." Guess what?
They did the same thing with the blacks. They said, "Oh, we look like Las Vegas."
Right. Every single one of y'all is going to buy a jersey. I guarantee it. I
looks
guarantee
like the
it.
Raiders. Oh, it looks like the Raiders. You know how many times I heard that about the Lions black jerseys? And you look, when you go to any game, I don't care what game it is, home game, away game, whatever, there is always a Detroit Lions fan in a black jersey.
Always. I mean, my Rock Down jersey's black.
I have more black jerseys than any other color because they're my favorite. I love them the best. And I love the grays. When we had the grays, everybody hated those. Now we're silver, and everybody's hating on those. Not everybody.
I think
but
here's the big problem. Like the video that they did,
Yeah.
it didn't do it any justice.
No, it
Because the
didn't.
video made it look white. Like when I did my live reaction, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, they're white. And
Yep.
I thought that was great. And then as you look later, well, they're anything but white, but they're kind of like a dirty white is what I kept saying. All right, we're going to do it again live. Here we go. Here's the Panthers on the left. And as you don't see a black stripe going across the shoulder. They have a black neck. We have a blue neck that is also double layered. It is inset with a blue and then the silver around it. Theirs is just a black neck. So no black stripe on the shoulder. Wait a second. We don't have numbers on the shoulder. They do. We don't have a logo on the arm. They do. Our blue stripe is on top of the shoulder. Theirs is on the upper part of the arm. Their numbers are black with blue surrounds, but ours is carbon fiber. We have our name on the front of the jersey. We have the Lions Detroit. They don't have anything. So if
You know what bums
if
me out about these
if
new
you
jerseys, though?
really look at the jersey, they're not even close.
The only thing that bums me out about these new jerseys, there's nothing around the bottom part of the arm. There's no stripes like all of our jerseys that we currently have. So I know they're trying something new, but that looks more like a soccer jersey to me than it does a football jersey.
Yeah, I
So
don't get that comparison either.
To me, it just needs something around the edges of the arms. I like them. I mean, I think they're slick. I think they look great. I love the black carbon fiber. I'm not dissing them at all. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't
They
care if you
could've
do this. I mean, here's the Bears.
Yeah.
That looks like a soccer jersey.
Yeah.
With the stripes on the arms. Exactly what that looks like. See how they have the stripes there?
Yeah, but it's not going around the arm. It's going up the arm.
No, it's going
kinda
around.
Funky, weird.
Going
Yeah.
around on the
But
bottom.
it's weird. It's vertical instead of horizontal.
Yeah, they got both. They have the horizontal going around the end, and then they go up the arm.
Yeah. I don't mind the stripe around the end, but the stripes that go up the arm are kind of funky weird.
Now, I will say this. I mean, this looks really plain Jane. I don't think it's a bad looking jersey at all,
No.
but it's plain.
Yeah, and like the Vikings, I think the Vikings were very creative. They used like a Viking script on the arms. See, now that's what Detroit should have done. They should have put some musical instruments or like motors and like factory workers around the edge of the arm. That would have been really cool, you know?
Well, I don't know about all that, but I'll say this: like Green Bay's is pretty plain Jane too. They got a real
Yeah,
light.
I don't like theirs.
soft
They can
green.
throw that in the garbage.
It's not a bad looking jersey. Look, I like.
I don't like the numbers. I don't like the script.
Well,
I
the
don't
numbers,
like
the
colors.
numbers are the old school script, but the
I
the
don't like it.
color and that yellow and that off yellow white, I think it looks great. To be honest
What's
with
that
you,
patch on it?
this up here,
Yeah.
that I think that's their old logo, Green Bay, their very very first logo.
Oh, garbage.
Yeah, you hate the Packers anyway. But look,
That's
I
my
mean,
opinion.
they got some really nice stuff, but they got this
I don't like it at all. I
off
think it
yellow
looks like
mustard. Now these
Yuck.
ones,
If I want to wear
These
a
ones,
Colonel
I
Mustard
think
jersey,
the
I'll get a
Texans
Colonel
are
Mustard
hot.
jersey.
those are hot. Those look great. The white,
I
those
like
look
the neon
fantastic.
blue on them.
Those look fantastic. I don't like our script either. I don't like the way that they did the numbers. I think, doing an italics, single digit or even the double digit, it looks terrible. It should have been straight. That's the one thing I don't like about it.
The nameplates on ours are huge.
And then this jersey's hot too. I mean, the Colts.
I like that. Who's that?
That's the Colts.
I like that.
Now
That's my favorite
this
one
should have
so
been
far.
our jersey right here.
Yeah, something like that.
Now let me clear something up. We are not even close to what we're supposed to be doing today. Let me clear
I
something
got
up.
you started.
Yeah.
Dude, I wanted to talk about this all week.
That's all right. So I got some news for y'all. I kept seeing this in other people's responses. Guess what? The Lions did not pay for their jerseys. They do not pay for them. Nike supplies the NFL with jerseys for free. They do that because they get all of the branding. It's the biggest brand deal in the country, or probably in the world. So Nike supplies the NFL with all their jerseys. So when I'm saying, oh my God, the Lions went cheap, they didn't spend any money, and oh, it's just Sheila, it's just the Fords, they never spend any money on the Lions. Well, guess what? They didn't pay for them. So I guess they went real cheap.
You know, as a fan,
just like
you can
everybody
get on
else in the
AI,
league.
and you can create your very own Lions jersey. You can make one up yourself, and then you can get a hold of a supplier, and you can get one made.
Yeah,
Ugh,
for the lowly price of $10,000 to get it all set up.
And Jaguars, no thank you.
Yeah, these ones are terrible.
I don't care. It looks like a baseball jersey to me.
Mm-hmm. That one does, but I just think that color.
I think the Packers looks like a friggin' baseball jersey too.
All right, here's the Vikings. I
like that.
See, and I don't see what people are all excited about. I mean, I like the font. I do
No,
like
I
the
like
font.
the script on the arms, and then they're using two different golds, a dark gold and a light gold in the arms.
I do like that font though. What is that font?
Script is pretty cool going around it.
I created my own font the other day. I did a mashup of.
Oh, I just got notification on my phone. I got something super ultra cool coming today.
Is it 12 inches long and cylinder like?
Nope, but it fits on your finger.
Oh, Jesus criminy. What is it? Did you get one of the Lions rings finally?
What's that?
Did you get one of the Lions rings finally?
A very, very expensive one.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a decent one, so I had to order one, and it took forever, and it's finally coming today.
So I don't know if I can share this or not, but I started creating. I can't share it, but I started creating my own fonts. So now I have all my own fonts that I'll be using. That will be for sale. I'm actually making fonts and selling them now on the font sites. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, man. All right, let's get reset and do what we're supposed to do today. Here we go.
All right.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play. What the f I'm talking about?
All right, do the Lions have a shot to make the Super Bowl? And how about the other teams? You ready to go?
I am ready. You want to start in the AFC East, or where are we starting?
Oh, I'm just going to start wherever. So I've got 8 divisions, and I'm not going to make it that easy on you and give you the first division that I threw out there. Let's start with the NFC West. So, do any of these teams not have a chance, or I'm sorry, did all of these teams have a chance to make the Super Bowl? So if you don't believe a team has a chance, any of the 4, then you hit the buzzer. Okay, so now let's break open the NFC West. And no, I didn't make graphics for any of this today. I probably should have, but that would take probably a week to get set up. All right, NFC West. So you have the Rams, you have the Seabirds, you have the Power Plant 49ers, and you have the Cards.
Yep.
The deck of cards. So out of which one of these teams do you feel doesn't have a chance?
Well, the Arizona Cardinals right now are looking at a plus 50,000 to make it to the Super Bowl. So I'm pretty sure it's the Arizona Cardinals, followed by the San Francisco 49ers at plus 1,900, the Seattle Seahawks at plus 1,100, and the Rams at plus 550. So I think the 3 teams on the top of the division, they have quite the chance to, have a shot at going. But the Arizona Cardinals, there ain't no way.
Okay, I'll give you my take on the Cards, and I'm right there with you, man. So I'm gonna buzz on the Cardinals. They don't have a shot. They've assembled some really good pieces out there. Trey McBride's elite. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still trying to catch up. Still a high-end talent, but he hasn't done a whole lot just yet. Then they have Jeremiah Love that they just added this year, so I don't think that they're going to be that far away from making the playoffs a reality, but they're really far away. Michael Wilson obviously had the breakout season last year, so that gives them some depth on their offense. Look, their offense is a pretty scary offense if they can put it all together and actually have a quarterback that can throw them the football, and actually do quarterback things. Jacoby Brissett, he's competent, but I don't know about being that next guy to help the Cardinals go the distance. I don't think that's going to happen. If anybody could take them, I think it's Gardner Minshew. He does give them another option. And then they got the Carson Beck that's kind of rolling behind all, two of those guys. And who knows where he's going to end up. And he's been playing lights out throughout the preseason and in camp. So I don't believe the Cardinals have a shot this year. I think that you have teams in front of them, obviously. But again, I'll give you my 3 quick reasons. McBride, Harrison, Love, they give Arizona some real young talent. Quarterback limits the ceiling here, and then the defense is ready to survive the division, but will they be able to take the Rams down? No. Will they be able to beat the 49ers? Maybe. And the Seabirds? Absolutely not. So I'm out on the Cardinals. Which one of these teams has the most likely chance of going to the Super Bowl this year?
Well, if it's up to me, I'm going to say the Los Angeles Rams, even over the Sea Chickens. Right now, what? You think the Chickens have it, eh?
Keep on rolling, man. It's your take.
All right. Well, mine is that the Rams aren't surprising anybody. They're bringing in Myles Garrett to a defense that was already stacked. Their offense is stacked. They were great in 2025, and they're the number 1 Super Bowl team on the DraftKings board. So DraftKings believes they are number 1. Matthew Stafford's coming off a spectacular season. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. They give him a great receiver combo. And listen, them adding Myles Garrett and then possibly having Aaron Donald come back, watch out. The Rams are stacked. They're going to be good. And I don't think they're going to be like, remember when Washington, back when they were the Redskins, that they bought all these big time players and they thought it was going to be great. Well, I think this is a little bit different this time. They're only bringing in one big name and bringing back another. So I think this just might work.
My prompter's not working today, so I'm going to be looking at my screen more than I will be anything else today. I don't know what the hell's going on. You started the whole damn thing off today.
I know, man. Everything went crazy on me.
All right, so you're talking about the Rams having a legit shot. Look, do they have a good roster?
Yeah.
They do. And Matthew Stafford just won an MVP and, had the league's top passing attack right next to the Detroit Lions, by the way. Puka Nacua, like you mentioned, Devontae Adams. Look, they're a good 1-2 out there. Puka, look, is he going to have his head on right? We don't know. I have no idea. But they have elite receiver talent. And then they decided offense wasn't going to be enough. And then they went out and they brought in Myles Garrett. And they already had an upgraded secondary with Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson. Sean McVay, he has an elite quarterback. He has an explosive amount of weapons on the offense. And now he has a defense that is capable of really destroying just about every offense out there. But the question is, can they stay healthy? And does Aaron Donald really push the needle that much more? Somebody that's maybe going to put in 30% of the snaps this year, if he can even stay healthy for the whole year. Comebacks at that age, after being away from the league for a few years, don't generally work out. But then again, he's also looked like he's in the best shape of his life. My quick reasons as to why or why not. Look, Stafford's coming off an MVP season. He's also aging. So I'm not going to bet the year on him. If he falls even a little, they don't have a shot. Nacua and Adams. Look, they can stress every level of the secondary. Nakua's got some personal issues. Can he remain clean throughout the year? I don't know. And I think that would also be a deciding factor. They can't afford to lose 1 or 2 guys on this offense before it becomes pedestrian. Myles Garrett. Look, he's been injured throughout the entire camp so far. I mean, he's been battling all sorts of things. And so the question is, can he stay healthy now? He's been healthy his whole career for the most part, but can he stay healthy now? I don't know that they have enough. If they lose any one of these top guys, and here's the main point, just because you brought in Myles Garrett and just because you're bringing back Aaron Donald does not automatically give you a Super Bowl. Matter of fact, when they don't win the Super Bowl this year, because I'm saying that they won't, they have a shot, but they won't, then I think that we can finally settle edge is not the answer. Seattle Seahawks. Look, they're the defending champs. I think we can start right there. I'm going to give them a shot to make it again this year, but it's not likely. Look, Mike Macdonald built a hell of a defense out there. It overwhelmed New England in the Super Bowl. I think both those teams were very early in what they did last season, and I think that they took advantage of the schedules that they were playing. But now the Seattle Seahawks have to turn around and play the number one schedule, in the land, and I just don't think that they're going to have enough to do it this year. They got a fantastic roster, fantastic coach. The concern is the attrition. They lost Kenneth Walker to Kansas City. Zach Charbonnet is still recovering from an ACL, and they've already lost several defensive contributors to free agency. So I would say, a repeat Super Bowl is hard enough. To repeat after losing a third of the guys that got you there is even harder. So Mike Macdonald's defense, the scheme's great. The offense, Sam Darnold, look, I've said it for this will be my third year. The dude can play in the NFL. And I still think he's going to have a great season. Durability is going to be the question this year. Can he stay healthy for a third season in a row? Question is at running back for me and defensive depth, but they do have a shot. 49ers, do you think they have a shot or no?
Nope.
Gotta hit that buzzer, man. All right. Tell us why.
Well, the reason why their principal owner just got in some really big trouble for having a little fun in Ohio. And then their coach got in an accident right before the season. Christian McCaffrey is healthy and holding out. And Brandon Ayuk has not showed up.
Wait. Did you say Christian McCaffrey's holding out?
Huh?
You say Mr. McCaffrey's a holdout?
Yeah, isn't Christian McCaffrey like a kind of a healthy hold-in kind of deal? He hasn't been paid, and he's looking to get some money.
I didn't see that he was holding out this year.
Thought he was doing some kind of hold-in, hold-out, something. He's really wanting some money. He can't ever stay healthy. I just think the 49ers, I think they got a little too much off the field stuff, Owner Jed York was arrested in Ohio, then pled no contest to misdemeanor charges, and the NFL is reviewing it. And then I don't know. I just think there's too much distraction for the San Francisco 49ers this year with their coach getting injured. There's some player stuff up in the air. And San Francisco they're kind of like Detroit. They have that injury bug they just can't seem to get away from. So, George Kittle's coming back from an Achilles injury. And what do you say about the year after an injury when somebody's coming back?
It's always a throwaway season, man.
It's always a throwaway.
It's always
season, just like it's going to be for Brian Branch. It's going to be for a whole bunch of players this season. So,
I think
49ers for me, they're out.
Yeah, I think where you there was the speculation of the hold-in, so I didn't know. I didn't hear that it was actually happening, but he made a statement the other day where he said that when you obviously don't practice it, the way that the media works is now it's a firestorm. And he said, but this was kind of the plan from the jump was to start up pretty big. Was to ramp up pretty big, get 9-10 practices in, kind of come back down, and then ramp back up again so they're fresh for the season. So they had a plan to manage him this year, which makes sense because he has that issue with both of his legs. I think it's both of his ACLs or both of his Achilles where he has some sort of degenerative issue going on there. I can't remember what it is. So it makes sense. But I guess everyone thought that he was holding in because, he had 5 running backs that just got paid. Yeah, like McCaffrey's career is just about done anyway.
Yeah, McCaffrey's on the last year of his contract. He's going to want some money after this year, too.
So I don't have the San Francisco 49ers sniffing anyone. I mean, that's a pretty tough division. I think the two that come out of it would be the Rams and the Seahawks into the playoffs. I think the Cardinals will be at the bottom, and I think San Francisco will be in third. And look, I like Brock Purdy. I don't think that the 49ers have enough. And I think, to your point, they have really dealt with some off-field stuff that is out of their control, and I think it's going to put a dagger in this team this year. That there's just too much crap. I mean, if you were an owner, and he's the principal owner, right?
Yeah.
So that means he has the majority of the shares.
Yeah.
How can the board? I don't even know if they can vote him out, but force a sale, like get him out, force a sale. I said this the other day, just casually being funny. He would have had a better opportunity of going and scoring meth at the places that he was going to. I mean,
listen.
come on, man. Like, really? What are you doing? He's in a trailer park trying to get some booty.
Look at Robert Kraft a few years ago. They didn't get rid of him, so I think York is going to be just fine.
That's because him and Deshaun Watson allegedly were at the same spa together.
Hey, what do you think about Deshaun Watson getting the starting position for the Browns?
Oh, my God. The Browns do some Brown shit every year, don't they?
We didn't get to talk about that.
They
do.
Well, we'll talk about it when we get to the Browns. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's jump into the NFC. I'm sorry, let's go AFC this time. Let's go to AFC East. So, do any of the teams in the AFC East have a chance to make the Super Bowl? Yes or no? They do. Okay. Let's start with... Let me roll all the way up here. Let's start with...
So I give you the odds for all the teams.
Why don't you just start with whatever team you think has a chance? Miami. Does Miami have a chance?
I think there's only one, in my opinion.
So then Miami, are they in or out?
Miami is out.
Okay. I got Miami out. How about the Jets? In or out?
They're out.
And the New England Patriots, in or out?
They're out.
Ooh. Buffalo Bills are in. Tell us why.
They're in. They have the highest odds of any of the teams in the AFC East, according to DraftKings. They are a plus 1,000 to make the Super Bowl, and they're minus 136 to win their division. So they are the consensus number one team in the AFC East this year.
Hold on. They have plus 1,000 odds right now?
Yes.
Where?
From DraftKings.
I'm definitely going to go put $100 on that.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Make the Super Bowl.
It's $100,000.
Yeah. So, listen. Buffalo remains the division's safest bet because of Josh Allen, and he is the ultimate difference maker at quarterback. The biggest question is whether the roster around him can finally give him the kind of postseason support that he needs to get through teams like Kansas City, Baltimore, the Patriots, all those kind of teams, right? Denver. I think Denver is going to be a playoff team again this year. I think teams like that are going to win, and that's who the Buffalo Bills are going to have to face in the playoffs this year. I think the AFC is going to have a lot of new teams in the playoffs this year compared to last year. It's going to be a shakeup. You're going to take the snow globe, shake it up. There's going to be a lot of different teams, but the Buffalo Bills, I think they might have the best shot in the AFC.
Apparently, I don't know how odds work. It was plus 1,000 for the Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So plus 1,900 for the Lions pays $2,000.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not $100,000. I don't know what I was thinking. That's not worth $100. Maybe it is.
It's $1,000.
I'll never bet on the Lions. I'll never, because every time someone bets on the Lions, we lose. Every time.
I do it every week.
Exactly.
They went 15-2. I made so much damn money.
Just don't bet. Just don't bet for them to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, I do that every year right as soon as the odds come out.
All right, so you said that the Bills have a shot. I'll break down the Bills here real quick. So unquestionably, are they a Super Bowl team? I think there's questions. I think there's a lot of questions. But I think where they have an advantage is, one, you have Joe Brady, who's now the coach, right? So they're keeping that offensive plan and that structure in place. So Allen doesn't have to start over. I think that's great for continuity. They gave him DJ Moore, so now he has a downfield threat. And they brought in Bradley Chubb because they've had some issues up front defensively. Their pass rush just hasn't been great. So if I were to give you a few reasons as to why and kind of keep it quick, one, Josh Allen can take over a game, but he has struggled in the playoffs. He has struggled to advance. And I just don't know what it's going to take for him to be able to advance. He always seems to be able to put up a lot of points. He's also getting older, so how much more, is he going to put up 700-800 rushing yards a year? That type of football just doesn't hold up. So I have questions with that. DJ Moore, again, he gives them a proven weapon. Bradley Chubb has to improve the pass rush for them. Their defensive front last year just didn't hold up as well as what I thought it would. Man, I thought their defensive front was going to be insanely good, and they just fell apart. But, I mean, the names that they had on that defense last year, you would have thought for sure they would have been like a top 5 defense in the league. Just didn't work out that way. So I do believe that they have a chance. I do. But I'm still not sold on Josh Allen. He folds like a tent in the playoffs, man. He just does.
But Buffalo doesn't need Josh Allen to become better. They just need him to stay the same, and they need everyone else to become good enough that he doesn't have to be Superman every Sunday.
That's a fair point. It is a fair point. All right, New England Patriots, man. I said it in the beginning of the season. I'm going to say it again. They are not going back to the Super Bowl. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. And I know that's a wild-ass, hot, juicy take on a Thursday, but you can't dismiss the former AFC champs. However, what schedule did they have last year? Who had them? Who had them even close to making, a deep postseason run, let alone a Super Bowl? I think
they had the luckiest playoff run in history. Every team they played, their quarterback went out.
So there you go. They kind of had the red carpet rolled out for them. It was the most odd situation I've ever seen.
Easiest path to the Super Bowl ever.
I still think that Drake May is developing, but I also think he's a really damn good quarterback. I think that they hit the nail on the head there with Drake May. Can he turn around and play like a franchise quarterback again this year? We'll see. A.J. Brown changes the passing game for them a little bit. I just don't know if it's enough to move the needle all the way. Vrabel, he's had his off-season issues with Diana Rossini and that whole mess. It's calmed down now, but I think that Vrabel's defense is legit. I think that the way that he coaches his team is legit. I just don't see the New England Patriots sniffing the playoffs this year. I think it's going to be pretty tough. The New York Jets, you didn't have them sniffing the playoffs this year? You said no, right?
Say that. I did not say that. I kind of think that the Jets are going to be a very much improved team this year. I think that they don't need to win the AFC East. And I think their defense is going to keep them in games and give them a chance to win some low-scoring games, because their offense doesn't need to be, 30 points a game. Their offense just needs to put up 17 points a game, and they're going to have a chance to win some games. They have Geno Smith this year. I think that's going to help stabilize them at quarterback. He throws a lot of interceptions, and he's not the best quarterback anymore. He's getting up there, but he is so much better than anything they've had for the last 4 or 5 years. So I think that the New York Jets are going to be a wild card team this year.
All right. Look, I'm right there with you, dude. I like Aaron Glenn. I always have, and I think he has an uphill battle as a coach for the Jets, just because of that whole Woody situation, the grandkids, and the whole freaking mess that he has to deal with. But I think that he is assembling a crazy good team, and that defense is going to be legit as long as he doesn't do what he did in Detroit and consistently try to pressure through blitzing. And I think that if he does that, they're not going to have a shot. But, I mean, hell, dude, they got rid of Sauce Gardner, right, just to make this team better. And that's exactly what they did this year. Jordan Veet says the Jets are 5 steps closer to a great team system, but they aren't there yet. And I would agree that they're not there yet to make a Super Bowl run, and they're not going to beat the Lions in week 3. But the Jets should be a lot better. I do have them making a wild card as well. It doesn't, make them a Super Bowl, candidate at all. But they've aggressively rebuilt their defense that finished 2025 without an interception. That's exactly why you got rid of Sauce Gardner. He was not an interception monster anyway. Minka Fitzpatrick, Demario Davis, Trevonde Sweat, David Bailey, the rookie, they all give Aaron Glenn a significantly better defense and a group, a core to start building with. Trevonde Sweat, we saw him at the Combine, absolutely loved what he did on the field. Couldn't believe how quick he moved at that size, over 350 pounds. Garrett Wilson. Look, he's going to give Geno, a true receiving weapon, and Geno being back. Look, I think that this gives him an opportunity to, resurrect his career one last time, but Geno's not the answer. They need a quarterback. They need a young quarterback to develop, and that's what they're going to get probably out of that next draft next year. But on the offensive side of the football, man, you brought in Kenyon Sadiq, and I think he's going to terrorize the safeties and corners in this league. He's and the linebackers too. I think that he's a rookie. He's going to take a little bit of time to warm up, but he's going to be just an absolute scud missile. His stock's going to continue to rise every single week. Just want to see him stay healthy. So anyway, the 3 quick points. Almost the entire defense has been rebuilt. I think that is a massive improvement. Garrett Wilson and Geno Smith, they're going to try to stabilize that offense. And I think that Aaron Glenn is going to grow as a coach, in his second year as a head coach. Jets making the wild card. Dolphins, not even going to waste my time. They're a mess.
I don't know. How have things out of camp been talking about the quarterback down there? Has anything come out about him?
Who?
Willis, the quarterback that came from the Packers and went down there with
Malik
Willis. Yeah.
Well, he's getting his time to start, but I don't know. I just look at Dolphins are not
competent.
A good team.
I don't care who he's playing with. He'll help them win a few games.
No, we'll win a few games, but they're not making the playoffs, man. That team needs so much.
Yeah.
Look, Willis has to. I'll just give you my quick points. He's got to prove that he's a starting quarterback first. He came in and won some games with the Packers, and maybe they were lucky, maybe they weren't. Look, I think he has the gift. He has to prove that he has the brain, and that's a totally different mark on a quarterback. Achane, look, he's one of the more established explosive centerpieces on this team, and it's not enough. The rebuilt secondary could give them, a shot to close up some games late in the fourth quarter. But look, everyone's got to stay healthy. This team is, under new management, under new leadership, and I think that they're pretty far away. I have them last in that division. All right, let's go to the next division, man. Let's go back to the NFC. What the hell? Let's just get this one out of the way. NFC North, man.
All right.
So I'll just ask the question. Do any teams in the NFC North, do all the teams in the NFC North have a... There you go. Okay.
I don't even need to let you finish that sentence.
They don't. They don't. Not all these teams have a legit chance, regardless of what, some people think. There's only one team, in my opinion, that really has a chance in this division. But, Eric, I'll let you take it away. Which team do you want to start with that doesn't have a chance?
Well, the Minnesota Vikings to start. The Minnesota Vikings, they are a mess. They're going with Kyler Murray over J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz. They don't know whether they're going to trade J.J. McCarthy, whether they're going to cut J.J. McCarthy, or run with 3 or 4 quarterbacks. They don't want to let go of Brosmer. They don't want to let go of J.J. McCarthy, and they don't want to let go of Carson Wentz. So I think even just this quarterback room, it's going to be an absolute mess for the Minnesota Vikings all season. And you're going to see that Kyler Murray, I want to call him Skyler. Yeah. Kyler Murray is not going to make it through the whole season. When's the last time that guy played a full 17-game season slate?
Never.
It's been a long time because it's never happened.
I don't think it's been ever.
He does not make it through an entire season without getting hurt. His first instinct is to run when he does not see anyone open, and he doesn't see people open very often. So he likes to run around and get hurt. I don't see him lasting the whole season. And who are they going to throw in as their second quarterback? Are they going to throw in J.J. McCarthy, or are they going to throw in Carson Wentz? Right now, in practice, both J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz are both splitting second-team reps. So they don't, even the team doesn't know what they're going to do with these two quarterbacks. I just because of the quarterback position, I say they're out.
Just because of the quarterback position?
That's it. I think they're out. And then, up front, they lost two of their defensive tackles this year. Harrison Smith has not come back. They don't know if he's coming back or not still, if he's just waiting till camp is over. So we'll see on Sunday, but I just don't see it for the Minnesota Vikings. That's my 2 cents. I don't think Minnesota's going to make it.
All right. Well, let's check in with our friends over there in Minnesota. Give me 1 sec here. I'll give you.
They're all about it. They think they're going. They think they're winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. Good luck with that. There's definitely something in the water up there, and it's called poison.
Well, if you look right now, Minnesota has the longest odds of any team in the NFC North, and they are plus 5,000 to go to the Super Bowl and plus 510 just to win the division. And
here are my favorite sure Vikings fans.
Here are my favorite. Sorry, hold on. I had audio on. Go ahead. They're plus 5,000.
Yeah, they're plus 5,000 to go to the Super Bowl. Their division odds are plus 510, and they are considered a wild card contender.
Well, while I'm showing some highlights here of the Vikings,
why is that guy running off the side into the bushes?
Apparently, he was going to go take a piss underneath the bleachers.
I see some balls on the ground. All right.
I mean,
balls loose on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, look, Vikings camp. Look, I expected Carson Wentz to play this year. I really do. And now I'm wondering if he's gonna make this team and not get cut because, like you said, their quarterback situation over there is dire straits. Kyler Murray, I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, and I think his biggest problem is his height. And I don't mean to be mean. I got nothing against people that are shorter stature in life, but his height has always been a problem as a quarterback. He has trouble seeing over the offensive line. They've had to scheme and manufacture, game planning for Kyler Murray because he couldn't throw above, like between the tackle and the guard. He couldn't throw those lanes without rolling out. So, like you said, his first choice is to run, and that's because he has to boot out to throw the ball. He can hit very few areas on the field. It's just proof, man. It's just proof. I don't even know how to explain it any better than that. They might be the fourth best team in this division this year. I think they are. And that doesn't say a whole lot, right? Are they still dangerous? Yeah, absolutely. They're going to have some dangerous moments. I don't even know why I'm on the wrong scene. They're going to have some dangerous moments this season, and they're going to have some fantastic plays this season. But it's all hype. And I'm sorry, the J.J. McCarthy experiment failed the minute you drafted the guy. I told y'all it would, and it did. The guy's just not a good quarterback. He's not consistent, and he's having trouble with the playbook. He's been having trouble with the playbook. He's missing wide-open receivers. So I think that they're up Schitt's Creek with zero paddles because Kyler Murray's not going to work out either. Kevin O'Connell, look, he tries to give them a quarterback-friendly environment, but it's just not going to work. Justin Jefferson is not enough to make Kyler Murray a better quarterback. So I think that the three quick things I could say real quick, Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. He's still going to have a decent season. But Kevin O'Connell is going to realize real quick he does not have an offense when you start to play good defenses. Brian Flores can manufacture pressure even without perfect personnel, and I think that their defense is still going to be pretty good. But Minnesota's the last team in the NFC North. And it was hard for me to put them there because I had the Bears there. But let's talk about the Bears next. Do they have a chance of making the Super Bowl this year? Because there's a lot of analysts right now that are trying to say that the Bears have a better shot than the Lions at winning the Super Bowl or making the Super Bowl this year.
Well, that would be false according to DraftKings. The Bears are third at plus 24, and they are plus 305 to
The lie
make
detector
the
determined that was a lie.
to win the division. So the Bears are being the Bears. Let me tell you, the Bears might be in some big trouble. They're having trouble with left tackle right now. Their left tackle was taken out of practice, and they looked at his left arm, and he tore ligaments in his arm last year and missed some time.
Who?
And they were looking at his left arm again.
Yeah, who?
So
Who?
What is his name? I can't think of his name.
Which position?
I can't think of his name. Their left tackle. But if their left tackle has to miss any time due to his arm, dude, who do they got behind him? Braxton something or other.
I think Braxton Jones is their tackle.
Who's the other guy?
Well, Trapillo's out. We know that.
Yeah.
If you look at their roster right now, as far as their offensive line is concerned, you have.
Let's look at their left tackle news.
You have. I can't remember who's over there either. We know we have Jonah Jackson. Braxton Jones was their main. They have Logan Jones, Jordan McFadden, Mason Murphy, Luke Newman, Joe Tooney. That's the one you're thinking of, I think. Joe Tooney.
Yeah.
They have Jedrick Willis, who they brought in this year, and then they have Darnell Wright. So I think it was Darnell Wright, Jedrick Willis, Joe Tooney, Garrett Bradbury, and Braxton Jones. I'm positive those are the starters. Pretty positive.
Yeah, it was let's see. Ozzie Trapillo is recovering from a major patellar tendon injury, leaving Braxton Jones as the leading candidate to open the season as the starter. And he missed time due to a knee injury this preseason.
Trapillo.
Braxton Jones.
Oh, Braxton Jones. Yeah, Trapillo's been out since last year. I'm trying to pull up the roster still. Give me one sec. Turn on
So Ozzie Trapillo, he's starting on the PUP list.
Yeah, he won't be back this year. All right, you said left tackle, right?
Yeah, there was left tackle, it said. Hurt his arm in practice the other day.
As soon as my computer wants to load this damn screen, we'll get there. I don't know what is going on.
Yeah, it even like the one day ago from CBS Sports puts out Ben Johnson still not 100% sold on who the Bears starting left tackle for this season will be. If you don't know who your left tackle is going to be 2 weeks before the season or a week before the season, come on, man, that spells trouble to me. So put Chicago down in third place.
All right, so Braxton Jones is the left. Darnell Wright is the right. Jonah Jackson's the right guard. Joe Tooney's the left guard, and Bradbury's the center. And so you're saying that Braxton Jones was having an arm issue?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But it is significant that they lost their center year over year. So this is Caleb Williams' third new center. His first year, I think he took 68 sacks. Last year, I think he took 38 or 32. I mean, it was significantly better. But you don't have Trapillo. You lost your center. And now, your offensive line's banged up. I didn't know about the arm issue. I didn't see that. But
here it is. Starting right tackle, Darnell Wright left practice early with an apparent right arm injury. He took his brace off his right elbow prior to walking off. It's the same elbow he injured last year, tearing the UCL, and he's worn the brace while playing through that injury last season.
So that's significant.
Also, the Bears activated Ozzie Trapillo from the physically unable to perform list last week.
Oh, wow.
7 months after he suffered a ruptured patellar tendon.
Yeah, that's crazy because they said at the beginning of the year that he wasn't going to be back this year.
Wow.
So if they activated him, well, then they're going to have to give him a shot to see if he's... When did they activate him? How long ago was that?
A week ago.
Interesting.
And then it says Jedrick Wills backed up Jones at left tackle on Tuesday. Theo Benedict moved back over to the right side where he was working with the second team unit until Wright exited.
Interesting.
So,
all right, here's my take on Chicago, man. Look, they're not really sneaking up on anyone. We know who Ben Johnson is, and we know who Ben Johnson isn't. I think that the biggest downfall for the Bears and Ben Johnson is going to be Ben Johnson's ego. I'm sorry to say this, and I hate to use this word because I don't like to use it lightly, but I think that Ben is a narcissist, to be honest with you. He is so cocky. He is so arrogant. He wants nothing but to be the best of the best of the best personally for him. He doesn't care about his team. He didn't say one thing about team-oriented goals during the very early parts of training camp. It was, I want to have the most points, and I want to break all these records. What about your team? And so, yeah, he may be able to lead these guys right now, but I think eventually, it's just like I always say, like you can wrap a piece of dog poop up in gold foil, but you're still going to smell the poop. And when you unwrap it, it's still shit. So I think that Ben Johnson is just wrapped in this comfy blanket of gold foil right now because of what he did in Detroit, or what did Detroit help him do when he was in Detroit. Eventually, look, you're going to see who his true colors are. This year, he's going to be playing up against a number one record, right? He's going to have a pretty tough opponents list this year. Last year, it was a fourth-place schedule, and they barely won 11 games. And they had the NFC North handed to them while on their off day. That's not going to bode well this year. I think that they're going to be up against it. Caleb Williams should continue to develop. Obviously, in his second season with Ben Johnson, you would hope that things are going to get better. Luther Burden's in his second year. Colston Loveland's in his second year. They're going to do some things on offense. Like we know that. They're going to have some successful plays. But they're still young, and it's a young locker room. Certain portions of the offense, very, very young locker room. How is that metal going to test itself later in the season when your back is up against the wall and you have to face the Lions towards the end of the year, even if you're still in it, which I don't think that they will be. They won an extraordinary number of games last year with 33 takeaways, Eric, and in multiple games in the last 2 minutes on fourth quarter comebacks. I think there were 7 games that were decided in the final 2 minutes for the Bears last year. You can't win and be consistent in the NFL surviving on a thread. 33 takeaways is crazy. You're not going to repeat that success. And it's like I said when Kirby Joseph had all the interceptions. Trade him because you're not going to repeat that success. The ether is as high as it's going to be right now. Had no idea about the injury. But anyway, I don't see where the Bears are going to be able to repeat defensively. I don't see where they're going to be able to repeat offensively and win these games in the final 2 minutes. Caleb Williams had a 54% completion rate last year against the worst teams in the league. How is he going to fare when he goes up against the best defenses this year? So my quick 3 reasons. Williams is still developing, but now he's developing with a third center and an offense that is now going to go up against better competition. Ben Johnson, look, he has a system that works. I do think he's a decent coach, but I think his arrogance is going to get the best of him. And for the defensive side of the ball, their turnover production, they can't carry him again this year. There's no way. There's no way that their defense is going to do exactly what they did last year. And if they did, well, then Dennis Allen deserves to be the head coach, not Ben Johnson. Bears don't make the playoffs.
Correct.
I almost spit out all my coffee.
Watching them flame out is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right, let's talk about. You did the Vikings.
Yep.
Did the Bears. Packers.
We got 2 teams.
All right, so the Packers, man. Look.
Well,
they have enough. They have enough high-end talent to win the NFC. They do, but there's a lot more questions than a year ago. Jordan Love, I think that he needs to be greater week to week with his consistency. He's not a. I know he seems to get a lot of top quarterback votes every year. He's not a top quarterback in this league. Micah Parsons, the biggest move last year that was supposed to move the needle for the Packers was Micah Parsons, who then went out halfway through the season, and he should be back about halfway through this season. I don't know what the latest report is, but it was expected to be week 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range that he could be back. Throwaway season because he's coming back from injury. If he is the only player and I'm going to come back to a statement on this after you're done too, but if he's the only player that was supposed to help them win last year, then without him, what are you going to do? Right? I think that when you look at Jonathan Gannon's defense, in where Green Bay lost several of its veterans last year, Rashawn Gary, right? To name just one, this isn't a bad roster, but it's a roster that is nowhere close to what it was last season. If Green Bay can have a dangerous defense, then I think that they can win some games. But I do not trust their offense. Matthew Golden didn't prove out to be a great pick last year. But again, we hold the evaluation for 3 years to see what he looks like. My 3 quickies: Jordan Love must become more consistent. Tucker Kraft, his recovery matters because he's not going to be back this year right away. And then a healthy Micah Parsons. Look, he can change the defense or it may not change at all. Green Bay Packers are second in this division, and they will become a wild card, potentially.
Yeah, just lock them in that 7 seed. So, listen, the Green Bay Packers, for some weird reason on DraftKings, they have a plus 1,800 odds to win the Super Bowl, where the Detroit Lions have a plus 1900.
Back here on CBS Sports.
So, I think that DraftKings has it wrong. They have better odds for the Green Bay Packers to win the Super Bowl, yet they have worse odds for them to win the division. They think that the Detroit Lions are going to win the division at plus 170, where the Green Bay Packers are plus 225. And they say that the Detroit Lions are the bounce back favorite and that the Green Bay Packers are a very strong contender. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I looked something up. Do you know how many times that Jordan Love has been able to make it through a full 17-game season in his 5 seasons as the starter?
I think 0
for Green Bay Packers.
Maybe
one. In 2023, he played in 17 games. So before that, in 2021, 6 games. 2022, 4 games.
Was he a starter in 21?
And then in 2024 and 25, he played 15 games and 15 games. Okay? So he has never played in 2 full seasons as a starter, all 17 games. He hasn't done it yet. So what happened this offseason? The Green Bay Packers, they lost their world-class backup quarterback who could fill in and win a game or two when they needed it. So this year, when Jordan Love goes down for a game or two, which you know is going to happen, they're going to have Tyrod Taylor. Do you think Tyrod Taylor is going to win 2 or 3 games for you while Jordan Love is sitting on the bench? I don't think so. So just for me, I don't think that it's going to help them very much. You know, it's a different story here in Detroit. You're going to say, oh, well, Eric, the Detroit Lions don't have the best situation at backup quarterback either. And we don't. But you know what we do have? We have an Iron Man at quarterback. He hasn't missed a game since 2021. So I think that is a totally different thing, where Jordan Love hasn't proved to me that he can make it through a full season without having to sit on the bench for a while. And then their defense, they have a brand new defensive coordinator. The Lions have a new offensive coordinator. Well, the defensive coordinator that came in, he was the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals the last few years. He hasn't been a defensive coordinator for years. He was a head coach for a few years. So it's a little bit different of a role. And I just think everybody is overhyping the Packers this season. They are getting way too much hype. And I actually think that our division as a whole is getting too much hype this season. So for me, I don't see the Green Bay Packers winning the Super Bowl this year. I just don't see it.
1 sec, buddy.
Yep. And I do think it's going to be the Detroit Lions in first, the Green Bay Packers in second, the Chicago Bears in third, and Minnesota in fourth.
Okay. So I know that we're up against it. You got to bounce at 10? Or are you good?
Yeah, I got to get going here in about 1 minute.
So give us your take on the Lions real quick before you go.
So, okay, the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, they get a few things.
Oh, they're not making the Super Bowl.
No?
I'm just kidding, bro. Just kidding. Keep going.
Well, I'm sure hoping so. Let's see. I'm going to give you a few things. Jared Goff, he doesn't miss games. He's super efficient, and he's always top 5 in every statistical category for a QB, and he might even be up for MVP this year. Jahmyr Gibbs, he could be up for MVP. He might be the best offensive player in the NFL. The Lions, once they get their center back in Cade Mays, they might have a really decent O-line. The Lions, their defense this year, well, their front seven, guess what? Their front seven is going to be awesome on defense this year. And they might have even figured out the secondary. Even without Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, the Detroit Lions, they might get it together and have a top 10 defense. What do you think about that? So with all that put together, you have a 4th place schedule. I think the Lions are going to win this division. They're going to go deep in the playoffs. They are going to go to the Super Bowl and win the damn thing for the first time ever against the Texans. 13-4. Here we go.
So, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. 13-4. Is that your official for the year?
Or 14. I'm wavering between 13-4 and 14-3.
Next week we'll put that out. Next week we'll do our final season predictions for everybody and obviously the Lions. All right, man. Pay attention to what I'm going to say next while you're off.
I'll listen, but I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And I will see you guys all tomorrow morning, okay?
All right, buddy. We'll see you. Have a good day.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play.
What the f*** I'm talking about?
All right, so I'm hoping that I clipped it right. I'm going to play some audio here in a minute from CBS Sports. Now, I got this idea to kind of run through this whole thing from them. It was a couple of days ago. They did something very similar, kind of going through, each of the teams. And where I got hyped about this was because of something that they said about the Packers and Micah Parsons. I'm just going to ask the question. How many of you remember that every analyst, just about, let me back that up. A large majority of the pundits, the analysts, the beat writers, the insiders, a large majority continually said that the Lions will never win until they get what? The edge opposite of Aiden, right? And that's the only way that the Lions could win, is if they got the edge opposite of Aiden. That's what they were missing. So if Aiden needs the help and he needs the other side, well, wouldn't Micah Parsons also need the help in the other side? Wouldn't Myles Garrett need the help in the other side? And Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, wouldn't they all need the other side to help them win football games? Seems reasonable. If what's good for one team must be good for all teams, right? This is how I know the pundits, a lot of the analysts, a lot of the beat writers, a lot of anybody that covers the NFL in general are full of shit. And you're going to hear why in just a second. Hopefully, I got it clipped right. Just bear with me. If I don't, I'll find it.
I don't want to hit the buzzer because the big question is Micah Parsons. If he comes back to himself, they can win the Super Bowl. If he doesn't, they can't. Because there's no pass rush opposite of him.
No.
Like, literally, there's none.
And Jonathan Gannon is going to have to manufacture pass rush until Parsons gets there. Or maybe Matt LaFleur will throw the ball more like he should be doing.
I think he is this year. I think he actually is going to open it up this year.
And Micah Parsons saying week 6, that's the optimistic return against the Dallas Cowboys.
Funny,
What?
I'm going to play that again. Y'all heard it, right?
Silent?
I don't want to hit the buzzer because the big question is Micah Parsons. If he comes back to himself, they can win the Super Bowl. If he doesn't, they can't. Because there's no pass rush opposite of him.
No.
Like literally,
There's no pass rush opposite of Micah Parsons. But if he comes back, the Green Bay Packers can win a Super Bowl. Oh, hold on. There's no pass rush opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Without that, the Lions can't win a Super Bowl. How does this make sense? The Packers don't have a pass rush opposite of Micah. But if Micah comes back, they're good. Well, Aiden's always been there. And Aiden's, to some people's thoughts, has never had somebody. They've had plenty over there, just like any other team has had. So is that saying that Micah's that much better than Aiden? Micah must be leagues better than Aiden. If he's by himself able to take a defense that doesn't have a pass rush and go win a Super Bowl with just himself coming off of a major injury. Make it make sense, y'all. This is how I know people are full of crap. Because every single one of these panelists, every single one, Pete Prisco, Legarduzable, Ryan Wilson, every single one of these guys has commented numerous times about Aiden Hutchinson not having enough, and because he didn't have enough, they couldn't win a Super Bowl. They wouldn't even have a good defense. And every single year, the Lions have proved that wrong. The issue has never been edge. The issue was not getting enough interior push because guys like Ali McNeil were injured. Guys like Levi Onwuzurike was injured. That was the issue. The other issue is the secondary got really banged up. Oh, we lost every linebacker outside of Jack Campbell. Those were the issues. The issue was never edge because every single team in the league has one edge, typically one good edge, and about 10 have a really good edge, and about 5 have an elite edge. But the other side, about every single team in the league has an average edge. And maybe 5 in the league have a better than, or maybe 10 in the league have a better than average, and maybe 5 in the league have definitely not an elite, not even close, but like a 7-sack, 8-sack guy over there, which is damn good. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. So now I'll get into the Detroit Lions. Are the Detroit Lions going to be able to win a Super Bowl? Can they win a Super Bowl? Absolutely they can. Will they? Man, there are so many factors, just like every other team. There's so many factors. We'll start with last year, the 9-8 season that befuddled a lot of us, but I think that there was a lot of hurdles. You know, the Johnny Mortons that came in and screwed it all up, how did I write this in my article? The Johnny screwed it all up Morton that's how I wrote it in this article I'm putting out today. When he came in last year, and that was about Isaac Tesla. So I'm putting out that piece finally about Isaac Tesla in the video that I did the other day, or the live stream, where I was defending the Isaac Tesla, versus this sideline report by whoever, Max Durma and Alex Yankees take from PFF. So last year was tough because they got off to a really rocky start, and I think the development for our younger receivers and just the offense overall, I mean, they kind of lost a year because it was so inept at times. The communication was so bad. And I'm not saying that Johnny Morton's a bad dude. I don't think that. I just think he was out of his league. He shouldn't have been an offensive coordinator. And I think that was a major mistake by Dan Campbell. I understand why he did it. He was trying to keep everything copacetic from the year before with Ben leaving. They were trying to keep the same offensive rhythm going. It didn't work. But now you have Petsing in. Now you have a new rhythm. You're still trying to keep things the same, but now you have a new rhythm. And so that changes things. And I think it'll be for the better. So last year we go 9-8. I think it was more of just a warning shot, right? The Lions just kind of fell off for 1 year. Look, the Lions haven't been anything for 6 decades. So the fact that we've had 4 winning seasons in a row, 4 out of 5 for Dan Campbell, winning seasons. 2, we went to the playoffs. 1, we won the 1 seed. And that 1 seed was filled with more than 21 injuries, and every single starter on our defense, but like 3, was gone. Is pretty incredible of what they were able to pull off in 2024. Last year was just a blip. This year we get Sam Laporta back. Positive news on Sam Laporta, getting some work yesterday. But is this window closed? There's no such thing as a window. And until you all realize that and accept that is just bullshit narrative talk, there's no window. It does not exist. And I some days I'm a broken record. Tell me where Sam Darnold and the Seahawks window, when did that open? Tell me when Drake May and the New England Patriots window opened. It never opened. And they still went to a Super Bowl, and Sam won it. I might have been the 1% that knew that Sam Darnold was going to have a great season 2 seasons in a row. But I didn't see a Super Bowl. Absolutely not. And neither did anybody else. And if they say they did, they're full of shit. But now you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have Jamison Williams, you have a second year out of Isaac TeSlaa, you have the best running back in the league. The Lions have so many offensive weapons, it's not even funny. And you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, top 3 for sure. The major questions, to start this season really remain around the offensive line still today, the offensive line. Even though Juice Scruggs is really starting to take a stranglehold to that center position, there's still a lot of questions. I mean, Cade Mays was a huge loss. It was a loss that we didn't need, but we will get him back. And he should be able to slide right in and be okay. A wrist injury is far different than a ligament, or broken bone, broken wrist. Far different, from a ligament or a muscle, injury or something like that. I think he's going to be just fine. Blake Miller, we got a rookie right tackle. I think that he's going to help shore up that offensive line, but I also think he's going to give up some sacks this year. His run game is going to be better than his pass pro. But can we do it? Yes, we can. Why? Because we brought in Devin White. That's why. Why can we do it? Because we brought back the guys that were on the secondary last year that played a lot of snaps. And quite honestly, the guys that are playing in this secondary together when they're healthy, the Harpers, the Maddox, the Yasins, the DJ Reed, when they're healthy, they have been probably the best secondary we've had in 5 years. Carlton Davis was good. Cam Sutton was okay. But together, I believe that this group that now includes Nick Whiteside and Keith Abney and Christian Izzian and Roger McCreary, there is so much proof of this veteran leadership that group is going to be great because they play together. They don't play as individuals. We don't have the distractions now. We don't have to worry about Terrion Arnold. He was more of a distraction than anything. And not just because of what happened this year. He was a distraction when he was here, too. He ran his mouth too much. I still supported the guy, but he ran his mouth too much. We have Brian Branch whenever he gets back. Kirby Joseph, he's a distraction. You don't know what he's going to be. You don't know when he's going to play. But even without him, the realistic approach is that he was never going to have 10 interceptions again. Now, last year, he actually started off with 3 in like 5 games. I mean, he probably could have done it again. At least the numbers supported that. But the likelihood of it happening again was not likely. When I look at this team overall, I think that Gibbs is the centerpiece that makes all this move. Offensively, he could put up 15 to 2,000 yards, 1,500 to 2,000 yards, and be a third of this offense. And extremely difficult to stop. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a fantastic running mate, and hopefully with the addition of Travion Williams and with Jacob Sailors, staying healthy and Vaki staying healthy, look, I think that this offense has plenty of players that can make plays. Aiden Hutchinson probably benefited the most, and this defense benefited the most by having another year in the system. Calvin Shepard growing at an exponential rate, switching to the nickel defense that I've been pounding my chest for over 3 seasons, and they're finally going to do it. That is going to help Aiden tremendously. Having more guys on the field to back him up will allow him to play a little bit more loose. Not that he wasn't before, because he was. But now he can make mistakes, the same mistakes that he was making before, and possibly have someone right there to clean it up for him. So it doesn't absolve Aiden of issues. It doesn't absolve him of mistakes. But at the same time, I think that this is going to give this defensive line a little bit more freedom. We've added a penetrator in Skylar Gill-Howard. Tyleek Williams has shown that his second-year leap is like, watch out. This guy's on his way. Jack Campbell and Devin White paired up in the middle of this defense. I mean, we're going to have 2 of the top 3 tacklers in the middle of your defense this year. Jack is the best linebacker in the game. You can't convince me otherwise. And Devin White might end up being a top 10 this year just playing next to Jack. He will get exponentially better playing with guys like that. He didn't have that in Vegas. He had Max Crosby, but he didn't have an Aiden, and a Jack, and an Aleem, and a Tyleek. He didn't have that. So do I think the Lions can do it? I absolutely think that they can. Playing a 4th-place schedule immediately gives them 11 wins. Immediately. Beyond that, I think they're going to have a fight on their hands with a few games this year. I think that the Bills is going to be a tough one. I think that the Packers and the Bears will be tough games, but I think that the Lions sweep. If they can sweep the division and win at least 13 games, I think the Lions are right in the hunt to get the 1 seed. And if they get the 1 seed this year and they're healthy going into the postseason, it's a wrap. There's not a team in the league that's going to beat us. So absolutely the Lions can do it. They are my heavy favorite, obviously, for the NFC North. They are my heavy favorite of the NFC completely. When I look around the league, and we only got through 3 divisions today. That's why we needed to start at 8 a.m. When I go around the league, and I'll save the rest for Eric for tomorrow. But when I go around the league, in the NFC, look, the Rams, they might have, something brewing over there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. When you look at the West, the Seahawks would be the only other team that the Lions would have to go through. And I think that we pair up good now. And I think that, the ghost that Sam Darnold saw in Week 18 of 2024, he's going to see again if we face each other, in a division championship. He's going to see him again. But this time, he has way more coming for him. Way more. DJ Wanham, I told y'all he's going to shock the hell out of everyone this season. A lot of people are passing this off as not impressive, not a good pickup. Brad missed. No, he didn't. He didn't miss. And I've never told y'all wrong ever. The only thing that I think I've really gotten wrong about this team in the now 4th season that I've been doing this was Marcus Davenport not being able to stay healthy. If he would have stayed healthy, he would have been a tremendous help to this defense. But AQM I got right. And Aiden never having 15 sacks I've gotten right. And just about everything else with his defense I've gotten right. So I'm not wrong about this. This defense is head and shoulders above where it's been in seasons past. Y'all will remember, hopefully, that in 2023 I left camp saying this is going to be the best defense, or in 2024 I said this was going to be the best defense that we've ever seen in Detroit. And it would have been had we stayed healthy. 2025, I said this was going to be the deepest team that we've ever had on the defense, and it was going to be the best defense that we've ever seen. And again, it would have been had we stayed healthy. But in 2024, we did something that we have not done in a long time. And that was keeping teams to a commendable, rate of scoring, right around or under 20 points. And last year, the Lions were at 17.7 points per game allowed through like the first 8 weeks. And then the wheels fell off with injuries. And then the number started to creep up. This year, my number is lower. I think that the Lions can hold these teams to 19 points or less. And if you look at the defenses that have been successful in winning championships and going to Super Bowls, that is the number, to stick by. Anything under 20 points is great. But under 19, under 18, and you're now starting to talk about some of the most elite defenses in the league. And I think the Lions can do that this year. But we need health. That is the only thing stopping this team. And I try not to make, light funny about it. But I warned y'all that scaling back your defenses or scaling back your practices was not going to help this team. It was not going to help this team stay healthy. And I think that you can look at this team right now and you can say, one thing is for certain. This is not the healthiest team that we've had entering the first week of the season. We have more injuries this camp than we've ever had before. Now, thankfully, we don't have a ton of IRs that really hurt our starters. We have one. We don't count Branch or, Kirby, but Cade Mays is the one that hurts. Outside of that, we have a bunch of ticky-tacky injuries, and we've been pretty blessed to not have a bunch of major injuries like some of these other teams. Kendrick Law was a big loss, but a rookie, so I'm not saying he doesn't matter. He matters, but the likelihood, could you imagine if Kendrick Law was on this roster right now? And how deep that receiver room would be? We wouldn't even be talking about him making the roster potentially right now. We'd still be talking about the other guys. What if they wouldn't have brought any of those guys in because he was here and playing? Think about that. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Kendrick Law goes down. Brad Holmes brings in 4 UFL guys. And now look at where we are heading into cuts this week. It's an extremely deep team everywhere you look at it. And I'm just gonna fire the shots. I don't care where they land. For anyone out there saying that our secondary is weak, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I don't think any defense is. The minute Brian Branch gets back, it changes things, but I'm just going to be straight up with y'all. Brian Branch is not going to be the reason that this defense plays better and helps this team win a Super Bowl this year. I know it sounds funny that I say that, but he's not the answer. He's part of the solution, but he's not the answer. The answer is Maddox, Yassine, Harper, Clark, Reed, Izzian, McCreary. They are the answer. Those are our starters. Those are the guys that are going to be on this squad, more than likely. I didn't say Abney because he's young. I didn't say Rakestraw because he's still developing. But those are really good depth pieces. Whiteside is another great depth piece and could also be part of the answer or more of the solution if he's able to stay healthy this year. But the answer to this defense is the secondary staying healthy. But I'm telling you that the way that this defensive secondary is played, they have played better than any other secondary that we've had in camp since I've been, doing this. But really since 2021 that Dan Campbell has took over. Even without Kirby and Branch in the fold right now, this secondary is playing way better than what we've had in the past. I'm sorry. If you think that they're going to shut down J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're wrong. And there's not too many of those guys that exist in the league, is there? Because that's 2 of the top 20 guys in the league. Amon-Ra St. Brown's the top 3. You shouldn't be able to shut them down. No other team can really shut them down. But that's their competition, and that's why they're going to be great this year. And see, and I would disagree. Like John Desage says, the secondary is our weakest right now. It's not. It's not. Weakest part of our defense or weakest part of our team? I say the weakest part of this team right now is the offensive line. That's the area that has the most questions. And it can easily turn into one of the best strengths. If these guys start gelling, man, they got to gel. They got to put it together. We haven't even seen the starting five together in a game yet. And we probably won't till week 1. And then that's why it's really hard to make a determination as to where this offensive line is going to be. We haven't even seen, really all of the starters play, a commensurate amount of snaps together in the defense. So you can't wait the secondary in training camp, in preseason, because they're not even playing with a full boat of front seven. And it all matters, right? When you have Aiden and you have Wanham and you have Jack and you have Devin and you have Tyleek and you have Aleem, those guys are what's going to help this secondary the most, and vice versa. So until we have them all on the field together, I'm analyzing these guys individually, and I'm seeing what they're doing individually. I've watched the majority of the film on them, and I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with Rakestraw. I'm really impressed with Whiteside, but man, does he make some bonehead decisions sometimes. He's young. That's why. And Rakestraw's young. Got to remember, Rakestraw's really in his first preseason game, first NFL game in 2 years, and hasn't really done a whole lot. He's been injured every year. So we are this close, man. And I'm telling you, it does not matter who's on this roster if none of them are healthy. They have to be healthy. That is the only reason why this team has not gone the distance over the last 3 years. That's the only reason. Because they have the players. They have the coach. They had the schemes. They didn't have the health. And Brad didn't draft or bring in unhealthy people that cost us a season. All the players that were injured, guys that were drafted that didn't even have any injury history, guys that were brought in that didn't even have any injury. Cade Mays never had any injury history until he came to the Lions. It has nothing to do with how they practice. Most of it's soft tissue. Most of it is non-contact. 99% of the injuries have been non-contact. Cade Mays was contact, and that was from just a normal practice football play. So I don't believe that our defensive secondary is weak. I know that there's, some people out there that will disagree. That's fine. But I would ask the question to the people that maybe you're listening to that say those things. Do they even watch film? Do they know how to grade film? And I may not be the number one guy in the world at doing that, but I watch it. And I watch it deliberately to get an idea of how this team is going to play this year and who these players are before I put out my 53-man. By the way, if you guys want to get in the 53-man competition, I'm going to be giving away a signed mini helmet to the winner. And there can be multiple winners. That's okay. We're going to do a wheel spin. It's just graded, point for point. So there's going to be 53 men on the roster. Pick 53. There's a difference between having a prediction. Like I'll put out a prediction that may not have 53 on it. And that'll be my final prediction. And then I'm going to have my 53-man for the competition. If you leave a space blank and they don't have a player, it doesn't matter if you get, it does matter that you get the player's name right? But if you don't fill out all 53 and you leave it blank and they pick up a player, that's a negative point. Just because you didn't put a name down doesn't mean you don't get a negative point. So that's how it's graded. You have to get the name right. You have to get the player right. And it doesn't matter what position they're at. It doesn't matter how the roster comes out and, I call it a corner or they call it a nickel and they call him a safety. Or I call him a safety, they call him a corner. That doesn't matter. It just matters the 53 players that you put on a list. So if you want to join the competition, email your final roster Your final 53 to mailbag at rockdown.com. You have till midnight on Saturday to do it. And then on Sunday, I'm going to open them all up. I'm going to print them all out. And then we're going to have our live stream covering the 53-man watch. And that's where they're all going to get graded live. And then once we get the live results, depending on how many we get right, I might just throw it into a wheel spin right away, right then and there, as long as I don't have a bunch of names and it takes me forever. Otherwise, I will put it together. We will do it the very next morning, and we will do the drawing live during the morning show. Hey, Trace just sent out 5 memberships. Welcome, Gradio370, Pass Hass, Graham 3 Mitch, Sandy 13 Wings, Lansing JP. Welcome in. Let's get y'all checked in. Take a brief break. Be right back.
Well, this guy's been everywhere tonight. He got drilled by Jack Campbell again.
Bam! Meets him right there, runs his feet. Jack Campbell wraps him up. Doesn't get any better than that. Textbook linebacker play.
What the f I'm talking about?
All right, so I just pinned a message, and I'm just going to read it real quick. Y'all know the rules of the chat and the channel. We are very open here. We welcome disagreements. We welcome different opinions. What we don't welcome is personal attacks and treating people disproportionately over football. It's just football. So have fun. Please be respectful. But I received a disturbing email yesterday, and it was about some attacks that were happening in the chat. I can't watch the chat all the time. The mods are also busy and can't always watch every little thing in the chat. But when I receive emails from long time day one listeners that have always supported this channel and will continue to do so, and Rocked On Cancer Foundation, thank you. You know who you are. I was disturbed because that's not what we're about. If anything, I'm fighting back against slander and defamation and all the other shit that I've gone through. I do not want that in my chat. I'm sorry. It's my channel. This is a community that we've built together, and we've built it based on one premise, man. We respect people. You can have a difference of opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. We love to see the difference of opinions. But we're going to draw the line when it becomes personal attacks. And you may not think you're doing it. Just go back and reread some of the chats and then maybe think twice. So I'm not going to call out anybody independently. You all know who you are. But disagreeing with me, there's nothing wrong with that. Like if I, for instance, John Desage, hey, I think that the secondary's weak. Okay. I didn't levy a personal attack. I just don't think it is. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. When it goes sideways, it goes sideways. And it can really, and some of those people aren't even in the chat today that had the problem because they're probably listening behind and not communicating into the chat, and that's exactly what I don't want. People need to feel welcomed. They need to feel welcomed. So, again, I'm not gonna call out anybody independently. Y'all know who they are. And honestly, there's nothing in the chat today that I've seen, but this is just, again, it's about an email that I received from a long time member, supporter, and those are the kinds of things that I just won't deal with, man. I just won't. We're supposed to have fun here. Hasidin Mahdi, man, what's happening? Good morning. Having a great day. Hope you are too. Hey, what's the temperature over there? Is it hot? Is it hot? I don't even know what it's like. You're in Egypt, right? So I don't even know what it's like over there. I mean, I'm sure it's hot, dry, you got deserts over there. But there has to be an area of like some greenscape, right? I don't know. I literally know nothing about the geography of Egypt. I know nothing. Absolutely nothing. Pyramids. I know that. That's on my bucket list to go when I fully retire. Been semi-retired for years, but we'll get out there eventually. Camels. Camels. What's the weather over there, man? Let us know. The Nile Delta is green. See, Sunburst knows. Goose says camels. Landscape changes based on the season, rising of the Nile, etc. Isn't so I don't know my geography. Like I was terrible in geography. Where's the Sahara Desert? Off football for just a second. Where is the Sahara Desert? It's in North Africa, right? And where's Egypt compared to North Africa? I'm just something popped up the other day, so I'm bringing this up. Where is it? Trying to pull up a map. Oh my God. I should just ask AI to help me out here because this is not working. East of Egypt? Wouldn't it be west? Wouldn't the Sahara Desert be west? All right, here we go. I guess it is kind of, Egypt is kind of northeast. But they're fairly close. I mean, they look fairly close on a map, but I'm sure they're thousands of miles away. Yo, one of these days, I'm about to answer this call to this spammer. Here, watch this. Hello? 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 Hola, ¿cómo está? Estoy muy bien. Hola. Hasta luego. I hate these spammers call me every day. This is prime funding. We can give you millions of dollars. I'm like, sure you are. This division of Amazon? Oh, yes. Great. So which area of Pakistan you from? What do you mean? Go F your mother, and hangs up. I'm like, okay. And I've blocked like 60 of their numbers, and they keep getting through. You ever watch that one guy on YouTube that handles all those spammers and scammers? And I wish I was intelligent enough to be able to do that. That stuff's crazy. All right, so anyway, I was trying to figure out where the Sahara Desert was because they're talking about our weather patterns in like the weather this year is supposed to be incredibly bad for the winter, and it has something to do with the Nile and the Sahara Desert, and so I don't know, it just popped up. I don't know why. My brain took me there today. Anyway, so tomorrow we will finish the rest of the 32 teams as far as what they say about each team. Let's listen to what they say about the Bears and the Lions real quick, and then I'm going to get out of here. Here we go. Here's the Bears.
2 under Ben Johnson. Okay, Pete.
Hold on.
Person saying week 6, that's the optimistic return against the Dallas Cowboys.
Funny, that's who he plays.
Yeah.
Should have been week 4.
Okay, what about the Bears? Looking for a big leap here, year 2 under Ben Johnson. Okay, Pete, your issue with the Bears.
I don't think their defense is good enough.
No.
I think Caleb Williams will get better. I just don't think they're good enough on defense. And they weren't good enough on defense last year.
No.
They had a lot of takeaways to stay in games.
Okay.
33 takeaways is astronomical. You're not going to replicate that year in and year out.
Okay, the toughest strength of schedule. That's what the Bears are dealing with ahead of them, so it's not going to be easy. The Eagles, next up.
I feel okay about it. I'm just a little concerned about.
I mean, they didn't really say much. Hold on. Let's do that one more time.
Okay, Pete, your issue with the Bears.
I don't think their defense is good enough.
No.
I think Caleb Williams will get better. I just don't think they're good enough on defense. And they weren't good enough on defense last year.
No.
They had a lot of takeaways to stay in games.
Okay.
33 takeaways is astronomical. You're not going to replicate that year in and year out.
Okay, the toughest strength of schedule. That's what the Bears are dealing with ahead of them, so it's not going to be easy. The Eagles, next up.
Okay, so we agree. Let's see what they said about the Lions. Oh, shit, they're hitting the buzzer?
3 more teams to get to. We have the Lions, Detroit Lions.
And that's all 3. That's Ryan Wilson,
Secondary, and me and
Pete Prisco, and Lager Duzable all hit the button.
You talked about that injuries on the offensive line, so that was always a calling card, but there's not really good depth on the O-line, but the secondary is the biggest concern.
New play caller, that's always a concern.
I like Drew Petzing, but I think
and by the way, let's go back to when they lost that championship game to the 49ers.
The division
What did he say? The window was closing. We might not have this opportunity again. Since he said that, the window's kind of been shut a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay,
What a
we have 2 more
moron.
teams. I don't know if we'll hear a lot of noise, but the Rams being one of them. We're good.
Nobody hit the button for the Rams. So there you go. Back to the window, man. Pete Prisco. He always writes some BS about the Lions every year. He's a Lions hater. I don't think Ryan Wilson has a clue. Lager Duzable. He just always has to say something. He just does. It's just his personality. He just has to say something. And look, Pete's wrong, man. I mean, to say that just because Dan Campbell said this might be our only shot. Like, Dan was speaking from experience and from the heart. It is extremely hard. See, this is what I don't understand about even our own fan base. Like everyone believes, or a lot of our fan base believes that we should be going to the Super Bowl every year, or the NFC Championship every year, or even into the playoffs every year. I hate to remind y'all that football is a team sport, and it requires a team to win games. It requires a team to go deep into the playoffs and march all the way to a Super Bowl. It also requires a lot of luck and, above all else, an extreme amount of health. Unfortunately, the Lions have not been healthy. But see, people skip right over that whole fact, and they say, well, Dan's not a good coach. Oh, Brad Holmes can't draft well, or Brad Holmes bring in guys that are injured. No. That's not the case. I've gone over it. And we need to speak louder and louder and louder to drown out the toxic, because the toxic just run their yap without understanding anything of reality or facts about the game. Brad hasn't brought in a whole bunch of players that were injured. If anything, it's the exact opposite. But every player in this game has been injured at some point in their career. Whether that is a detrimental, or a significant, major injury, or whether it's just, the consistent ankles, or the consistent groins, or the consistent hammies that every player seems to deal with. Some are worse than others. Brad hasn't really brought in a lot of guys that are injured. What he has brought in is some guys that had questionable injury history that are on the very bottom of our roster. He took a big chance on bringing in, oh my God, what was his name? Mosley. That was a big chance, big risk on bringing in Mosley. He suffered that, was it ACL, I believe, the 1 year, and then in the same exact game, same exact team, same exact week, a year later, tears the other one on like the third play of the game. But the reward, had he been healthy, was extremely high. But he didn't pay the guy, right? Hardly paid him anything. And the same thing for Davenport. Barely paid the guy. So you have to weigh those things. It's not so much about the injury history as it is more of the reward and how much money you didn't spend, because you're still banking and on the fact that the younger guys on your roster, some of the other free agents, you're still banking on the fact that they need to get healthy, stay healthy, and hopefully will be the players making the plays. Again, if Davenport had stayed healthy, and he already proved immediately in the first couple of games with Aiden Hutchinson as to why he was so important to set the big end, to set the big edge, to be the big end. Because Aiden popped off right away with Davenport in the game. And now with Tyler Lacey and Ahmed Hassanin and DJ Wanham, he's going to be able to do the same thing. It's not about the other side getting sacks. It's about the other side standing up that tackle, setting that edge, and forcing the ball to go the other way. They don't want to run at Aiden. They want to run between the guard and the tackle. They want to run between the center and the guard on his side, and they want to run off the tackle on the other side. So if you can close that and box him in on the other side of Aiden, then they don't have a choice but to go inside. And you're not going to run inside against Tyleik Williams, Lee McNeil, and Jack Campbell, or Devin White. You're just not going to do it. Teams are not going to be able to run. I mean, I'll put out a wild call. This will probably be on my final. Where's my marker at? Oh, I'll put this up on the board. Where's my marker? Shoot. Oh, I don't know where I put my marker. So I'll write a note. Last year, here, let me go to team rankings. Do I not have an account on team rankings? I thought I did. Oh, looks like that's another one I'm going to have to pay for. I thought I already paid for this one. God, these subscriptions are so crazy expensive. All right, let's save that. We are registered. All right, so Team Rankings has betting picks and models, NFL Survivor picks, Circa Survivor picks, football pick'ems, golf, bull picks, NCAA. I just use it for the stats. Let me go to the NFL. Let's go to the stats. Let's go to the team stats. How many of you guys use team rankings? Now, I came across this last year. I really liked it. I really like this site. It's one of the sites that I'll use this year. There's a lot of stuff in here that I don't need or won't use, but they do a good job at tracking a lot of the efficiencies, and you guys know I'm all about the efficiency. So the efficiency is where the devil's in the details, right? As that's how they say it. This is where the details matter. I want to go to rushing defense last year. Total defense. I want to go opponent rush yards per game. Where's that at? There's opponent yards per game. Here we go, rushing defense. Opponent rushing yards per game. Oh, no, it's attempts. Oh, let's go back. Opponent rush yards per game. This one. Make sure this is muted so it doesn't play something stupid. Okay, so last year, it's already Jackson, it's already top to bottom. So Jacksonville had the best defense last year against the run, 85.2 yards per game. The Lions were 13th. We were 13th, and that was not our best defense. It was not a great defense last year. In the final game of the year, we gave up 65 yards right here. 65 yards in the last game last year. The next one over is at home. Jesus, we averaged more yards at home, 120.5. That's not good. Away, we averaged 109.2. Here, let me move this to the right so you can see the last box. So I'm going to give you a prediction here in just a moment. And I think this one's going to be pretty spot on, based on what I've seen. Now, remember, these predictions require health. Last season, in 2024, we averaged 103 per game. 103. Where did that rank? 1, 2, 3, 4. We were 6th in the league in 2024, allowing 103 per game. So we trailed off 7 spots. 7 spots. Year over year, we were 13th the next year. All right, let's go back to the beginning. Who had the best run defenses in the league? Oh, well, that's not a surprise. New England, top 6. Where's Seattle? Did I just blow right past them? Where the hell's Seattle? Oh, there they are. The 3rd. This is the number that I pay attention to for a defense. It has nothing to do with passing. It's rush yards. If you can slow a team down in the run game, you have the best chance to win football games and to go deep into the postseason. This is where it starts. This is why Aaron Glenn always put an emphasis on shutting the run down. He knows, just like Kelvin Shepard knows, just like Dan Campbell knows, and just like some of the best coaches in the league know, Sean Payton, another one right here in Denver, D'Amico Ryans in Houston, they know Andy Reid in Kansas City. Was Harbaugh in Baltimore. Harbaugh in L.A. McVay in L.A. They know if you want to go deep into the postseason and actually have a chance, you need to shut the run down. So the Lions last year had a lot of injuries. We were averaging 114.5 yards per game that we were allowing the opponents to score or the opponents to put on the ground. The best defenses that made it to the postseason and deep to the Super Bowl were under 100 yards per game. So here's my shot, and I'm calling it. Or here's my prediction. I'm calling it. The Lions in 2026, health being the most important factor to this whole thing, will average less than 95 yards per game. Clip it, save it. That's my call for the year. I may even get a little bit more freaky deaky on this when I put out my final, but I'm telling you right now, it'll be no higher than 95 yards per game. If they could just manage to stay under 100, and then you're only giving up about, 180 to 200 in passing, and then some days you're giving up 120 in rushing, but you're only giving up 150 in passing, and it flip-flops depending on the team, that's going to be the difference maker for the Lions. And so let's go back to 24. Like I said, the Lions were averaging 103. Well, what happened that year? I mean, we had the 1 seed. We won, 14 games that year? 15 games that year. And we had the best chance of doing some damage, but we were not healthy. How are we able to continually erase teams against the run, playing a number 1 schedule? It had something to do with the scheme, but it also had something to do with who's in the middle of our defense. And this year, it's even better. We have a guy by the name of SGH who's able to get sideline to sideline in a hurry. He's just as fast as our linebackers. I wouldn't be surprised if, they don't just use him as a pass rush specialist, but they put him in on early downs to shut the run. Let's go back to 2023. How did we do in 23? Bang, look at that, y'all. 91-1. We were the second best team in the league. The year before, holy cow, 146-5. Our second year with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, and they were still building. We won 9 games that year. And it should have been 10, and it should have been a postseason berth. But nobody wanted to touch us. Nobody wanted that defense at the tail end of that season. And when we opened up this season, that's in 23. We didn't start over. We just continued right where we left off from 2022. Let's look at a couple of different metrics that will also matter. Points per game. You guys know this is a big one for me. All right. Let's go back to 23. We'll start there. I hate these stupid pop-ups. I got to get my ad blocker back on, but if I turn it on, things stop working. So in 2023, I mean, look at who was in the Super Bowl in 2023? I'm almost positive the Chiefs were in that, weren't they? 2023. It's Chiefs and Eagles? Chiefs and Eagles. So Chiefs were allowing 17 points per game. Eagles, where are they at? Oh, my God. They were almost dead last. They were allowing 25.6. It totally makes sense as to why they couldn't beat the Chiefs that year. They allowed 38 points in that game. They lost by 3, but they were allowing a boatload of points. You can't have a high-octane offense and then not be able to shut teams down defensively. And in 2023, the Lions kind of had this best of both worlds thing. We had a high-octane offense, but we were still 25th in the league at preventing teams to score, allowing 23.8 points per game. Had that number been 20, the Lions probably would have won a couple more games, and maybe they win the NFC Championship game. But again, injuries really stacked up against us that year. Kendall Vildor had to play, and it just wasn't a great situation. But 23.8 still got us into the postseason and still got us all the way to the NFC Championship. But we also played a pretty shitty, schedule, right? It was a pretty weak schedule. I think it was third best that year. Might have been a third overall in the NFC North. I can't remember. The year before, we were allowing 25.1, so we got better, right? Defense was getting better. What happened in 24? Oh, my God. I'm paying for your stupid account, so why am I getting ads? 24, we got even better. Look at that. 21.5. Now, if I remember correctly, we were 17.7 points per game through the first 8 weeks. We finished at 21.5 points per game. The year before, 23.8, so we improved 2.3 points per game. Much improved defense. Who was in the Super Bowl in 2024? We had Kansas City and San Francisco. Kansas City, 20.5. Top 6 in the league. San Fran. Look at that. Bottom of the league. 25.6. Who won the Super Bowl? Well, not San Francisco. Kansas City did. So again, this could be a good exercise. Let's go through all the Super Bowl winners one of these days and see who had the better points per game allowed and the better, rush yards allowed per game. I'm willing to bet 95% of the time the team that won both of those marks won the Super Bowl out of the teams that were in the Super Bowl. That probably didn't make any sense. Out of the teams in the Super Bowl, the team that had those marks the best, right? Those metrics were the best. Out of those two teams, probably won the Super Bowl. I'll say 95% of the time, just as a guess, and I think I'll be pretty accurate. Now, here's where sometimes it doesn't make sense. Right? Look at San Francisco the year before when we brought them, in the NFC Championship game. We put 37 points on them or something like that in that game. We doubled up what they were allowing throughout the season. That's because we had a high octane offense. But where we failed was our defense was still porous. So the two teams that made it are kind of polar opposites. But it just goes to show that the teams that make it to the Super Bowl have a low points per game, or the teams that win the Super Bowl have a low points per game and a low rush yards per game. 2025. More pop-ups. Where's the Lions? 24.3. Man, did we fall apart. We are allowing 2.8 more points per game on average. 2.8 points per game than the previous year. Who was in the Super Bowl in 25? Philly and Kansas City, right? That was the third year in a row for Kansas City. Look at Kansas City, 19.3. Philly, 19.3. And that year, Philly finally won. So what does that tell you? This is the work that I do behind the scenes. I'll go through and I'll spend an afternoon just looking at metrics, looking at stats, and that's where I come up with a lot of my predictions, because I research and study the league. I research what wins. I research how teams are winning. And these are the stats that have carried my predictions for a long time, and why I tend to get a lot more right, because it's all based on history, man. The league is the NFL is repeatable. If you do this the same way each and every time, it's going to be repeatable. If you prevent teams from scoring, what's going to happen? You're going to repeatedly win. If you prevent teams from rushing the football, what's going to happen? They're going to become one-dimensional, and you're going to be able to shut them down, and you're going to win. So if there's two things that the Lions need to do every year, it's to hold teams under 20 points, and it's to hold teams under 100 yards rushing per game. You guys remember when the Lions didn't even have a 100-yard rusher for a long time? How long was that drought? It was a long time. Holy cow. Don't look it up. Take a guess. Take a guess. How long do you think it was? Gino, we can review that game in 2023. Matter of fact, we'll do it after cuts. We'll review it. So make sure you come back when we do that. I'll put it on the thumbnail. We'll review the last couple of seasons for the Lions playoffs. We'll just go in and look at all the metrics, and what happened in each game. And I guarantee you the stats and the metrics will point us as to what happened. The efficiencies will point us to what happened, and it'll make perfect sense. I know what happened, and I don't think it was the passing defense at all, because that same passing defense totally controlled that game in the first half. It wasn't the passing defense. The quick take in 23 was Aaron Glenn was an idiot. What he did in the first half, you can't do in the second half. And he didn't change. The 49ers came into the second half with a new plan. Okay. He's going to package up several rushers on every play. He's going to be sending too many players on every play. We're going to go behind them and over top. When you commit that many rushers and try to manufacture even more pressure and keep the blitz up, the highest blitz rate ever, you're going to lose. What we needed to do was go to more, I hate the term prevent, but we needed to do a little bit of man inside zone scheme. We needed to run a zone, not quarters, because quarters is beatable too, but you wanted to run zone and then man on the outside. And if we would have done that and kept everything in front of us, the Lions win that game. But because they stayed in man and then continued to blitz, the 49ers just turned the clock up, got the ball out quick, and then put it on us in the second half, because Aaron Glenn was an idiot, and Dan Campbell didn't stop him. We could point our fingers at, the fourth downs that Dan Campbell went for. We could point our fingers at the 50-yard crazy play to Brandon Ayuk on Kindle Vildor, the once-in-a-billion chance that it would ever happen again. And we can also point a couple of flags at the refs that were, like they were going to flag Vildor for pass interference had Brandon Ayuk not caught that ball. And there was no pass interference. The refs had it in for the Lions. They absolutely did. And I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, but they did. I was there. I saw it all unfold. But there's more to that game. You know, people will blame Josh Reynolds, and Josh was not the reason. Part of it, but not the whole equation, man. He was part of it. Turnovers, part of it. But what you can definitively point your fingers at is not adjusting your scheme to the score. When you are up by, 17 points, I think we were entering the third quarter, you cannot play the same defense. You can't play aggressive. You need to sit back and just take away their lanes. You need to force them to go 12, 13, 14 play drives and take 9 minutes off the clock. That's what you needed them to do. Because had you just done that 3 times, that game is over. And all you had to do is score one more time. That should have been the plan. But it wasn't. And it's easy to sit back and play hindsight, right? Because we're really good at that. Hindsight 2020, man. It's a vicious game. But unless you back it up with facts and stats and metrics and analytics and a little bit of film study, I think hindsight can get you in trouble. But some people don't care. You know, they don't care if it gets them in trouble. But you might have some valid points too, you know, that our defense was a little bit porous. But I think that all starts with Aaron Glenn and putting our defenders on an island, you know, putting our DBs on an island was not the right decision when, let's just take into consideration who was out there. Was Kindle Vildor really your answer? Hell no. So why would you put him on an island? Against Brandon Ayuk. Why would he do that? Why didn't he have a safety over top? Stupid decisions, man. But hindsight teaches you that. And that's just how coaches learn too. That's why we call it teach tape. But unfortunately, teach tape doesn't help you win Super Bowls. It doesn't. You have to know the tape. And you have to be able to make the decisions that matter when you're faced with it, right? Aaron Glenn didn't. Just like 24, man. Just like 24. How many frickin' times did we throw the football on 3rd and 1 at the 17-yard line? How many times? Next to none. Because that is 4-down territory. And at a minimum, you could have kicked a field goal if you really needed to. You pound that rock twice up the middle, you're going to get a first down. And then you got a set of new downs, and you can get into the end zone eventually. Boneheaded move, egotistical move by Ben Johnson. And then the same thing for Aaron Glenn, man. And again, I'm not saying in 24 like we would have gone and beat the Eagles next. We wouldn't have. We were too banged up, too many injuries. The teams that beat the Commanders that year, the Eagles being one, I think they split. I think they split with the Commanders. Hold on. Yeah, they split. December 2022, they lost 36-33, the Eagles did. And then in the playoff game, in November, they won 26-18. So they won the first, they lost the second. And then hold on. The third matchup in the NFC Championship game, the Eagles smoked them 55-23. And if you go in and listen to what they said about their defense and what they did, they will tell you. You just I'll pull it together. We'll do the breakdown. It's going to take me a little bit to pull it all together. This will be a great show. We'll do 23 and 24. I'm a little off kilter on what I was starting to go through with predictions here, but it's all right. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. They told us that they learned something in those 2 games. You cannot blitz Jaden Daniels. I told everyone before that game, before that playoff game, you cannot blitz Jaden Daniels. You can't. You have to play spy. You have to go to zone. You cannot send blitzers consistently. You can send one, but you constantly can't be rushing 7. You just can't. Not against an RPO-heavy team, not against a quarterback that has wheels, and not against a quarterback that has wheels and an arm. You cannot do it. The fact that we blitzed consistently is what lost that game. You cannot blitz the RPO. And the Eagles learned that. Because in the first matchup, they didn't blitz. In the second matchup, they did. So in the third matchup, they didn't blitz. And they smoked them. They won 2 out of the 3 games, and the third one was the most important in the NFC Championship game. But they came out and told you why they won that game defensively. I mean, obviously the offense was putting up points, but defensively, the reason why they were able to win that game is because they didn't blitz. Not as much as what we did. All right, how many years without a 100-yard rusher? We'll get back to that now. Hold on. Let me go back. This is crazy. We started November 28, 2013 on Thanksgiving. Reggie Bush had 117 yards against Green Bay. The next time we had a 100-yard rusher, I was at the game. Kerryon Johnson ran for 101 against the Patriots. September 23rd, 2018. And I'll remember it like it was yesterday, man. We were at the stadium. Hold on, I wonder if I can find an image of it. They put on the big board. Hold on. Where is it? I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it quick enough. I think we won that game too. Almost positive we did. One sec. Oh, freaking Maddie Patricia, man. Golly. At least he did one thing right. I'm not finding it, but we did win that game. I was there. They put it on the Jumbotron when we finally broke 100 yards, and man, did that crowd go nuts. Went nuts. Completely nuts. The fact that we finally had another 100-yard rusher since Reggie Bush. 1,760 days, 70 regular season games, which is the 4th longest drought in NFL history. The 4th longest drought in NFL history. Just think, man, look how blessed we are now. Like, Gibbs can go for 100 in his sleep. Speaking of that, my face just popped up on Look at Your Memories. That was last year's Lions season ticket holder event. Wonder where those blue glasses are. Okay. Anyway. So what I was talking about is the areas that the Lions need to improve. And the metrics and the analytics that are going to matter the most is right here. The Lions need to be under 20 points per game. And until my final comes out, based on what I've seen from this defense, and based on what I know that this defense is going to be able to do this year with this scheme, and the most important thing to me is the free rushers. We're not rushing 7. Not to say that we won't, because we will. But when you are able to run, a free rusher, get a free rusher, or get a rusher free from the nickel, from the corner, from the safety, from the linebacker, from wherever, places that you're not expecting it from, perfect, alignment has to happen, right? The offense has to be doing something that fits within your ability to gain a free rusher. Otherwise, you're not just going to run someone at the quarterback and give up, an open receiver, an open tight end, just because. Like, I don't see Calvin Shepard doing that. And so far, I haven't noticed him doing that this year. I think you have to have what I call on offense, you have a two-way go for a receiver. You're going to have that on defense. So if you're lined up and you don't necessarily have someone to guard when they get to the line before they snap the ball, if you don't have a receiver or a tight end directly, lined up in front of you, then your responsibility is more than likely to take on the running back. Okay, well, you getting to the quarterback before the running back getting out, on the wheel route, I like those odds. You're coming downhill, he has to get uphill, right, and around the corner. So if your defensive end is able to set a hard edge and slow that running back up, and you're able to rush a natural 4 and you get any penetration at all on that quarterback and he has to move, your goal is to, I don't know how to, let me go back. The goal for me, just an easy way to explain it without explaining everything, because there's a million ways to do this. But let's just say I need to get my writing ability back on screen. Let's just say, you have your front 4. Right? And then you got your 2 ends. You got your 2 backers. Let me think here. Probably going to go 3 defensive linemen. 2 defensive linemen, 2 ends. That's 4. 2 backers, that's 6. A nickel, 2 corners, 2 safeties. So let's just say you've got your front 4, not 2 ends. Your front 4, your 2 backers, and you got your 5. If you're on the right side, let's say you're lined up, as the extra guy, the extra DB, and you're on the right side behind, let's just put Lacey in there, because you'd probably use Lacey in this situation. Lacey is going to want to set that hard edge. But is he going to want to set a hard edge and back you up? Or is he going to want to set a hard edge and kind of keep you at the line of scrimmage? What do you think is more beneficial? It depends on what you're doing defensively. Because your goal is to push that ball to the free rusher. Right? You want to push the quarterback to the free rusher. So your goal would be Ali McNeil at the left defensive tackle. He needs to get pressure up the middle. Lacey just needs to set that edge right there at the line of scrimmage. And then Tyleik Williams is more than likely going to loop around Aleem and crash with Aiden off the left side. So now you're pushing that quarterback across the formation to the other side, where now your free rusher's coming in. Why would you do that? Because now you're pushing the ball closer to your rusher. So it's less time that it's going to take that free rusher to get to the quarterback before that running back can get out on the dump pass, right? The wheel route, the screen, whatever you're running. Probably not a screen. Make sense? So that's how you use a free rusher effectively. So you have to have a two-way go here. So then if they put a guy in motion before the snap and now you have a tight end in front of your face, well, you no longer get to go at the the quarterback, you now have to pick up that tight end. So what do you do with the rest of your DBs? You shift, right? You either shift pre-snap or post-snap, but you want to get a shift going, and then you want to start walking up to the line on the other side so that two-way flips to the other side without flipping the formation, without running someone over. You just rotate and then come down. And you can do the same thing. So now Lacey is going to want to push. Aleem is going to flip around Tyleek. And then Lacey and the other, or Lacey and Tyleek, or I'm sorry, Lacey and Aleem are going to crash left from the right. And now Aiden gets a shot. And so does the DB that, is coming from the other side. Without having to change anything, you just make the call, right? Jack is going to make the call. The guys on the line are going to make the call. You probably at that point, you're going to see the defensive line shift because now they put a guy in motion. You need to move over so that you make the room for the rush plan. Make sense? That's what I'm noticing out of this defense. It's totally different. All right, anyway. I need to get my pen working today so I can do more breakdowns with the pen, with the formation. Here's my plan. Points per game. Last year, the Lions averaged 24.3. The year before was 21.5. Let's take a look at what happened in 24. Real quick. Would help if I could spell. All right, let's go back to the beginning of 2024. All right, right there. We started with the Rams. Where's my phone? So the first game in 2024, the Lions let up 20. The next game, we lost. We let up 20. The next game, we let up 13. The next game, we let up 29. Man, that Cowboys game, that was fantastic. 47-9. That was such a good game. All right, so through the first 5 games of the season, we've only allowed one team to score more than 20. We've allowed 2 teams to score 20, and we've allowed 2 teams to score less than 13. So it's 20 plus 20 plus 13 plus 29 plus 9. It's 91 points divided by 5. 18.2 points per game. All right, so then Titans. Whoops. My bad. Titans game. We allowed 14. Packers, 14. Texans, 23. Jaguars, 6. Colts, 6. So the next 5 games, the Lions averaged 14 plus 14 plus 23 plus 6 plus 6 is 63. 12.6 points per game. That's humming, y'all. Like that is insane how good they were playing. Let me make sure I don't have these flip-flop. Like, we actually won these games, right? It's crazy because of how many injuries we suffered this year. All right, so we get into the last third of the schedule. Bears, we allowed 20. Packers, we allowed 31. Bills, 48. Bears, 17. '49ers, 34. Vikings, 9. Darnold was seeing some ghosts. All right, so the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. I got to be missing a game. Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Seahawks, Cowboys. Yeah, I'm missing. Sorry, I forgot the Vikings. 29. So it wasn't 12.6. 18.4 for the middle third. All right, so the last 6 games was our worst of the year. And as injuries mounted, we were not able to hold teams. The Bills game was demoralizing. The last 5 games, it's crazy. 159 points allowed. $26.5 points per game. $92 points allowed in the middle third. $91 points allowed in the first third. So, I mean, we almost allowed more points in the last third of the season than we did the first 2 thirds combined. 183 points the first 2 thirds of the season, 159 the last 6 games. So when you add all of that up, 91, 92, 159 divided by 17 games. I don't know where they got these numbers from, 21.5, because I just added it all up. Unless my math's wrong, I got 20.12. 20.12. So where are they getting 21.5? And where's the total points? There's so many stats in here. Sometimes it's hard to find. So 342 is what the official stats say that the Lions allowed. And 342 divided by 17 is 20.12. So I know my math is working. So team rankings is off. So there you go. You still got to double check, everybody. I should message them. That number's wrong. 20 point. That's off by 1.3 points, which is significant. So still in 2024, you guys can see where things started to fall apart for us. It was right. Oh, that's 25. Hold on. It was right here with the Packers game. We allowed 31 points and then 48 and then 17 and then 34. That's where you could tell that we were hurting in those games. And then to allow the Commanders to have 45, which is more than double what we averaged the entire season, is crazy. It shouldn't have happened, but that's all scheme. Let's look at the 2025 schedule real quick. We obviously fell off a little bit this year, or last year. Oh, one more exercise. This is another thing that I've challenged everybody to do every year. If you don't agree with my numbers and how I get to these numbers and why I believe in these numbers, do yourself the favor and go and look at how many games the Lions have won when they have restricted their opponents to 20 points or less. Okay, let's just look at 24. Rams, they scored 20. We won. That's one. The Bucks, we only scored 16. They scored 20. We lost. Cardinals, they scored 13. We won. Seahawks, well, they scored 29. We still won. Cowboys scored 9. We won. Vikings scored 29. We still won. Titans scored 14. We won. Packers scored 14. We won. Texans scored 23. We still eked that one out. Jags scored 6. We smoked them. Colts scored 6. We smoked them. Bears scored 20. We won. Packers scored 31. We won. Bills killed us. Bears scored 17. We won. Vikings scored 9. We won. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 wins just by keeping your opponent under 20 points. 10 wins. That is enough to get into the playoffs every year. To a wild card. Typically, in most divisions, 10 wins could win the division or you're in a wild card. The point is you got to score more than 20. And there's no reason why our offense can't score more than 20. All right, 2025. First third. Lions put up or allowed 27. Lost. Bears put up 21. We won. Ravens put up 30. We won. Browns put up 10. We won. Bengals put up 24. We won. So through the first third, 13, 21, 30, 10. I'm sorry, 27, 21, 30, 10, 24. 112 points. It's 22.4. And the Lions were 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. Next third. Chiefs. They put up 30. We lost. Bucks put up 9. We won. Vikings put up 27. We lost. Commanders put up 22. We won. Eagles put up 16. We lost. Now, that game, the Eagles game, was a funny game because it was bad weather. It was cold. It was windy. Couldn't pass the ball. And I don't know why we didn't run the ball. Like, I don't get it. We tried to put up, I think it was 36 or 38 passes that game or something crazy. Makes no sense. So second, third, 104 points allowed. That's 20.8 points per game. And the Lions were 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 2-3. All right, final third. Giants put up 27. We won. Packers put up 31. We lost. Cowboys put up 30. We won. Rams put up 41. We lost. Steelers put up 29. We lost. And Vikings put up 23. We lost. And the Bears put up 16. $197 points scored. 28.43 points. Let's go back to team rankings. What does it say for 25? Lions allowed 24.3. So if I add all this together, 112, 104, 197, 413 points allowed. And that was spot on. That's 24.3. So they got that one right. I don't know why they have 24 wrong. And obviously our record did not reflect. I mean, we ended up in the last 7 games. We'll go in reverse order. 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4 to finish the season. 9-8. 413 points allowed. 24.3 points per game. So the math works. The math works because every year I've tracked this and every year I've paid attention to it. Just go look for yourself. Take some time. I promise you, the games that we hold teams to 20 points or less, we're going to win 95% of those games. Yes, you're going to have some low-scoring affairs like we had with the Eagles where the math doesn't quite work, but you have other variables there. And then here's the other side of that. Go look at every other team. The teams that are holding their opponents to 20 points or less, you know, that are a decent team, they're going to win games. I'll have AI scan all of last year and scan every however many teams scored 20 points or less and how many of those games did they win. And I think that's the only number we need. So at the end of the day, here's my number for this year, man. Or my 2 numbers that are going to matter the most. Points per game. I need to see the Lions at 19. 19 or less. The overall number is going to be 20. But I need to see this team have 19 points or less per game to be able to win a Super Bowl. I know it seems like 1 point doesn't matter, but it does. It absolutely is. 17 points on the season as an average. but it matters. 19 points per game or less, and the Lions are going to win a lot of games. So, all right. I know we started late, close to 9 o'clock. Been rolling here for about 3 hours. I'm done for the day. I'll see you guys later on tonight. I've got a lot of work to do between now and then. We will be watching, or I'll be doing a live stream tonight for one of the games. So we'll see you guys then. And remember, be nice, be kind, keep being the best fans in the world because you are. And keep coming back right here every single day for the Rise and Grind Morning Show and Rock On Detroit Lions, all presented now by DFJ Sports. We'll see you guys. Adios. Take care.